decline after President Trump backed away from hitting Iran hard with strikes over the weekend. Maritime traffic, though, still stalled in the Strait of Hormuz for oil and goods. Patrick DeHaan of Gas Buddy tells ABC News that the market remains volatile due to refinery issues in the Gulf and the ongoing war between Ukraine and Russia.
Gasoline and diesel only down 2 or 3 cents. That's only about a 2% drop. And part of the reason for that is that refining continues to be impacted. So while the price of oil is down significantly, the price of what comes out of a refinery is down nowhere nearly as significant. And that's something to keep an eye on here, that even if there is de-escalation between the U.S. and Iran, if no new attacks emerge, we're still looking at Ukrainian drone attacks in Russia.
Along the border of Spain and France, evacuations continue as crews battle wildfires whipped up by dry and hot conditions and winds. The fires now blamed for at least one death in Spain. This is ABC News. In Seattle, 3 people are dead and 4 injured following last night's shooting at a food festival.
First responders rushing to the festival, attempting to revive 2 of the people who were shot. Both of those victims ultimately declared dead on scene. 4 other people, including a 2-year-old, were transported by firefighters to a local hospital after sustaining injuries. One of them later died. One suspect has been taken into custody. Police say another suspect is still on the loose.
ABC's Alex Stone. A new cybersecurity alliance gaining traction in the tech world following recent major AI hacking incidents.
NVIDIA, SpaceX, Dell, and Microsoft are among the companies joining forces on the Open Secure AI Alliance. The goal, to create advanced cybersecurity tools to guard against attacks from artificial intelligence, like the one where 2 of OpenAI's models hacked into the website Hugging Face.
ABC's Mike Dubusky. There were no winning matching Powerball or Mega Millions drawings over the weekend. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson just wrapped up a press conference discussing last night's shooting at the Bite of Seattle. We'll hear from her and Seattle's chief of police following a look at traffic. South 5 into Seattle, scattered backups from 85th in the downtown. North 5, pretty solid approaching the West Seattle Bridge in the downtown. And then a brief backup there at 520 to the Ship Canal Bridge. And on the east side, South 405, we're slow from Factoria into Renton. Everywhere else, doing fine. This report brought to you by KIRO Newsradio.
KIRO Newsradio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Nate Connors. A 15-year-old is in custody in court in connection with Sunday night's deadly shooting at Seattle Center that left 3 people dead and at least 4 people hurt, including a 2-year-old boy. Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson spoke with reporters moments ago.
We believe this teenager opened fire in the crowd, but details are still under investigation. This individual will have a first appearance court hearing at 1:30 p.m. today.
Police say 2 people started shooting at each other last night during the Bite of Seattle. This is Police Chief Sean Barnes.
I don't know if it's gang activity, but certainly group activity. We have to determine the nexus behind what happened. Obviously, with someone so young, we have to determine if this person is a part of a group or a part of a gang, what the ongoing conflict was.
All of the victims are out of the hospital except for the toddler. He is in satisfactory condition. A fire near Leavenworth dramatically increased in size over the weekend, and it's forcing people to evacuate their homes. The Little Giant fire on steep slopes near Little Giant Pass has grown from 7,000 acres Friday to more than 19,000 due to high winds and escalating temperatures. It's 30 miles northwest of Leavenworth, and a number of rural homes have been evacuated. Officials say the fire's 0% contained, and much of it is inaccessible to firefighters on the ground. So far, no reports of any structures damaged or injuries. County auditors across our state are telling voters not to mail in your ballot. Instead, use county drop boxes. That's due to ongoing changes going on at U.S. mail distribution centers. According to the Tacoma News Tribune, changes made last summer mean your ballot might not be postmarked with the date of the post office actually received it. Instead, it could be postmarked a day or 2 later at a processing facility. Local election officials blame the recent consolidation of mail processing centers nationwide, which impacts how long it takes to process ballots. President Trump has been a big critic of mail-in voting. In March, he issued an executive order that would have required the post office to keep a pre-authorized list of voters, but that order was struck down by a U.S. District Court judge. Federal investigators are set to interview the pilot of that Kenmore Air seaplane crash today. The float plane went down near Susha Island last Thursday with 11 people on board. Everyone survived, but 4 passengers were hurt. The plane had left Lake Union for Roche Harbor when it made an emergency landing and caught fire. According to the Seattle Times, the wreckage is now in a hangar in Friday Harbor. Preliminary findings could come in about 2 weeks. And now check out your KIRO News Radio weather. A nice day ahead of us, mostly sunny and 78. Tomorrow morning starts cloudy, maybe some isolated showers, turning sunny by the afternoon. Tuesday's high near 74. Morning clouds, afternoon sun through the rest of the week. By Friday, we're into the low 80s. Mostly sunny and 69 in downtown Seattle. I'm Nate Connors, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
And now, it's time for the Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio. With your hosts, Jake Skorheim and Spike O'Neill.
Behold, a fiendish masterpiece from the bowels of hell! Mondays, for I hate Mondays. They make me so steamed. Weekends! I go for the weekends! Son of a
Welcome to the show. Happy Monday to everybody out there. Jake Skorheim sitting alongside Spike O'Neill. Spike, welcome to Monday.
Happy Monday, brother. Welcome back.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I was out Friday. Anniversary. So took a little time this weekend with the wife.
She decided to hang in there, huh? You're a lucky man. You're a lucky, lucky man.
Boy, I did not expect to come back in such a crazy news fashion. So over the weekend, obviously everybody who's been listening to KIRO this morning and who's been watching the local news, yesterday by to Seattle, there was a shooting. They're calling it a mass shooting. 3 people have died. 4, possibly 5 people are injured. All the way down to a 2-year-old a toddler was injured. And just the story is horrific. And what's really interesting about this, which we're just going to jump right into with you guys, is watching as the city of Seattle really is being highlighted right now. I mean, I was watching the press conference that just happened about an hour ago, started about an hour ago, finished about 30 minutes ago. I was watching that live on CNN. It is a national news story.
Yeah.
And as you're watching Seattle represented on the news in the wake of this horrific, event that happened, you're sitting there watching the leaders in Seattle and you're kind of scratching your head going like, do they have a firm grasp on what's happening? Because that's what everybody wants. In the middle of a hectic, tragic situation, you want to feel confident. At least your leaders are all rowing in the same direction and know what they're doing and have a clear vision of how to solve the problem. And
as a city, people want to know what's going on. Information is empowering.
Yeah.
And a lack of information. We've got a couple different examples to play for you today. Lack of information can be as traumatic to a community as the horrific incidents that took place at the center themselves.
Well, nothing's gonna top the deaths. The lack of information.
I don't mean,
that's not.
Yeah, but when you've got a community that doesn't know if there's an active shooter within their midst.
Yeah, there's certainly to compound the horrible news of 3 deaths, which is awful, with further confusion about what's happening and whether or not people are safe. It does not help the situation at all. And part of that is understanding how to get this information out to the public, which is why we asked Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio reporter, to join us right now. Luke, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Luke, what's really interesting about having you on is, as always, you have a real insight into how these stories are discussed in the back rooms at the highest levels before they're kind of disseminated out to the public, because you have a background in PR and you have worked for some of the biggest local tech companies. You've worked for, this is your bread and butter. You know exactly when you're watching this. You're watching this with a very skeptical insider's view. So what's your 30,000-foot view? And we'll get into some of the details in just a minute, like some of the cuts from the 2 different press conferences, because there was one last night at 11 p.m., even though the incident happened yesterday at 6 p.m., and then there was another one today, 12 hours later today at 11 a.m. So give us a little insight.
So a 5-hour delay last night, and then the next one 17 hours later. So I worked in corporate PR for a number of years, and I've been in those backroom discussions with a million people, including lawyers and engineers, and maybe sometimes 20 people in a room discussing what are we going to say, how are we going to say it, down to the words. because every word matters in PR. My initial reaction to that from that lens, and also a reporter lens as well, was that if you take that high-altitude look, the shooting happened at 6 p.m., the mayor told us all in a press conference today that they tried to communicate at 8 p.m. The information they put out at that point in time was inaccurate.
Okay.
And so, which was that they believed that there were two arrests or only one arrest. So they got that wrong. And then what did they do? They just stopped communicating.
So she's saying that because they got that initial information wrong, that there had been 2 arrests, they decided to wait an additional 3 hours before they had the press conference.
Well, the reasons they gave were multiple, but I'm just saying from that high altitude level, what they did was communicated 2 hours after the incident. They got it wrong, and then the mayor said, someone made the decision, stop communicating altogether.
And there's before we move on, there's valid reason for that. If the mayor's office has issued a statement that they find out was erroneous, and I understand, let's hold the horses until we know what's going on. I understand the value in that and the prudence in that, but as Luke will tell us moving forward, the next few decisions make no sense and do the community very little good.
Yeah, and keep in mind that there was, they said in this press conference just now, there was a second, they believe, and they still believe there could be a second shooter that is involved in this and is out there and was at the time as well. So instead of getting that information out to the public, they stopped communicating.
What's fascinating about that, and we'll dig into some of these cuts here, Chief Sean Barnes was not in town last night. He was in town for the briefing today at 11 a.m., but he was out of town, which people were kind of scratching their heads about, and we have more information on that, so we can give you on that. But they had Assistant Chief Tyrone Davis was there. Katie Wilson was there. Pramila Jayapal was there. Bob Ferguson was there. They were all together for this 11 p.m.
Last night,
11 p.m. And people, you had press assembled. You had everybody ready to go. This is, I believe, the clip I'm about to play for you guys that kind of was one of the questions about, why are you waiting this long to share this information? This happens at 9:15, I believe. This audio clip is recorded.
Mm-hmm.
They say at the time it's going to be 9:45 when we finally get this thing going. Even at that point, that is more than 3 hours after the incident happened. But let me play you guys this clip, and then we can jump off from here. This is, I believe this audio is recorded by John Cho, but the voice you're going to hear in this is Como's Jeremy Harris. And he is talking to one of the PIOs at SPD, whose job it is, not the SPD's fault, not the PIO's fault, but his job is to come out and say, hey, guys, we're waiting for a specific reason before we give you guys this information, because you have all this press who have gathered. They're all there. This is the biggest local story. People want to know, are our viewers safe? What information can we get out there if the public needs to know it? And this is the answer that they got. And this is this is the thing that everybody seems to be talking about right now. And then they tried to clean up today a little bit.
We are almost 5 hours into this. I'm not mad at you. I am mad at the dignitaries that are holding up a press conference for the public to get information about.
He says almost 5 hours. So this must have been nearly when it started. So this is probably closer to 11 p.m.
A mass shooting outside of the space center. It is outrageous that we are being told to wait for dignitaries.
So what I'll do is I'll go back here and we'll get everybody down here. We'll get somebody to talk to you guys. I do understand, like I said, you guys have been out for a while. I've been out here for a long time.
It's not us, it's the public that needs to know.
Get the information to everybody. Okay? All right.
Do we have a timeline on when these supposed dignitaries are supposed to be there?
Let's just, if what I'll do is let's just get who's here. Let's get them down here.
That's
you guys.
a great idea.
And then what we'll do is, as those dignitaries come, then we'll have them come.
But we need the police first, please.
Who are these so-called dignitaries?
They'll be here in a minute.
Thank you, Brian.
Who are dignitaries?
So we're being told they're holding for dignitaries?
We're holding for dignitaries. An elected official wants to make sure that they are on camera. Talk about this.
It's all a big show, you're saying?
Is that what the direct quote?
Yeah, direct quote. He said we're holding for dignitaries.
You hear that? We're holding for dignitaries. So that's what all the press was told last night.
At one point, yeah.
At one point.
Yeah.
So then they give the thing. That's 11 o'clock. Katie Wilson speaks. I watched the whole thing. It was about 20 minutes. Katie Wilson gives her little kind of preamble. She then tosses it over to Tyrone Davis, who's got some information that he gives out to the public, including, they say there was a second suspect, which we now all know again. There's a second suspect. But he told the reporters that there's no threat to the public, which I believe Sean Barnes had to also was asked about today to kind of square with people to say, well, if there was a mass shooting where 3 people died, and you have a second suspect that you're looking for, how can you also in the same sentence tell the public that that's not a threat? Like, how do they know that?
Yeah, and he backstepped in the press conference today. If you'll notice that answer, he said that I think what we were alluding to and what we meant was that the scene itself in Seattle Center was secure, and therefore there was no threat at the scene. It's a backstep off of messaging that came out there. Here's why that we think that may be the case, because someone asked this in the press conference as well, and because we were speculating as well. We've seen sources, and we've been reporting it this morning, that this was a gang shooting. That's why there were questions about gang shootings as well. It's just gang related. All they'll say, and the city leaders, is that it's small group related. Could they be gangs? They're looking into it. And that the 19-year-old who was killed, and there was a question about that. Could the 19-year-old who was killed be another gang member that was involved in this? And the answer was, we're looking into that. Could be, we're looking into that. So the speculation is that 19-year-old was a part of this shootout, or was targeted, perhaps, according to some sources, died, is a gang member, according to these sources. And then there was someone else there, a second shooter, who returned fire, kind of defending the 19-year-old who was targeted.
Possibly to the 15-year-old who is now in custody.
To the 15-year-old who is now in custody. Right. And then also, just to follow up on holding for dignitaries, they put it to Katie Wilson, the mayor, as well, because Wilson said in the press conference today that they were at a different location because they were told, the dignitaries, it was her, Governor Bob Ferguson, and Representative Pramila Jayapal, that it wasn't safe for them to be near the scene, so they wanted to wait until police searched the IMAX theater next door.
I have that. Let me play a little bit of that clip.
Is that true? Was the delay at all to do with because we needed politicians to get in front of the camera?
No, that is absolutely not the case. Okay, so as I stated before, last night at Seattle Center, what we had was a scene of an active investigation where SPD was searching the grounds for a possible second suspect. And there are times when elected officials' presence is not helpful, and that was one of those times. We don't want our law enforcement distracted taking care of elected officials when they have work to do. As soon as we coordinated with SPD and agreed that it was time to talk to the media, as soon as we knew that we were going to be doing that, I and Governor Ferguson and Congresswoman Jayapal arrived on the scene within minutes.
So you can say his office unequivocally did not tell you to wait.
Okay, so
No,
she says they arrived on the scene within minutes. I want to play you a clip from last night. This is from the press conference. This was Pramila Jayapal, who was standing there and also spoke a little bit. Katie, most of the speaking was from SPD, Tyrone Davis, Assistant Police Chief, as it should be, because he's the one who would have the information. Bob Ferguson spoke for what probably was like a minute, I think. Katie Wilson also spoke very, very briefly. And then Pramila Jayapal also was there, and she spoke also very briefly. But somebody asked her towards the end of the press conference, were you at the Bite of Seattle? Like, were you nearby? Basically kind of asking, because of this explanation earlier that had been given that we're waiting on dignitaries, it's one of three people that they're talking about. It would be either Wilson, Ferguson, or Jayapal, and they kind of wanted to know, like, where were you guys in relation to the Seattle Center? And if it was a delay because they were waiting on someone, I think the press was trying to get at, like, who were they waiting for? So they asked Jayapal that question.
Were you attending the bike, ma'am?
No, I was not at the bike.
Oh, were you in the area?
No, I was in West Seattle, but immediately was in touch with the mayor and with the governor as soon as we heard what happened.
It's interesting that now hearing Katie Wilson say that we were all there within a couple of minutes feels like maybe there's something that's not quite adding up there. I don't know how important that is, but I'm questioning this waiting for dignitaries story that they're saying is now just about sweeping a building.
Well, there's a little more, yes, and let's consider the source of we're waiting on dignitaries. That wasn't just like a police officer who was, sitting there, running security who heard it through the grapevine and said, I heard there were. That was the public information officer who said that, which carries a lot more weight. And so that tells me that there is an obvious disconnect between the mayor's office, who is saying one thing about why they were delaying a press conference because they wanted to get things accurate, and we were ready to go, but we were being held back because of a police search, et cetera. But you have a public information officer saying, no, we're waiting for dignitaries. That's why there's a delay.
Do you know what time that was?
The dignitary line?
It was pretty close to the press conference itself, so a little bit before 11 p.m.
So it's I mean, I don't want to, it's not like they were told at 9:30 they were ready to go, but they're waiting for somebody to fly in or drive in or from wherever. They didn't, I'm not trying to defend their actions, because first off, if you're waiting for the scene to be secure, which I respect, okay, that you feel like you have to, there may be an active shooter, there was still an obligation to come forward to the city. Didn't have to be at Seattle Center, and it didn't take dignitaries being there to do it. But to come out to the citizens of Seattle, say, look, this is a situation. There's a second shooter. That person is at large. That's a public safety piece of information that this city's leadership is sworn
100%
to provide.
And the time that information gets out is 5 hours after the fact.
Right, and if they knew at 7:30, at 8, at 9 that there was a second shooter that was not in custody, that information needs to get to the public.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And that's outside of sweeps of the center or dignitaries en route or any other issue.
It's not usual that you hear journalists on the scene of a press conference saying, what the heck's going on? Or anchors on television who were covering it last night saying, this is unacceptable.
We have to actually have that. Spike, you saw this last night. You were kind of like, you were tied to this. This is KIRO 7. This is Monique Minlavin and Gary Horker. And
they're doing their best to inform the public without any kind of information support from the elected officials or law enforcement community of Seattle.
Yeah, and the audio on this is not perfect, but
Frank got us a better version.
We got a better version?
It's just in that script right above.
There we go. Thank you very much. All right, this was from KIRO 7 last night.
They're waiting for dignitaries before they will tell the city whether this is still an active public safety issue.
That's what it sounds like.
I'm at a loss for words.
Yeah. So we are in a bit of uncharted territory here. Monique and I were talking about, because she and I have been here for more than 20 years, and we were trying to think about the last time there was a complete lack of information, and that's...
Can I pause it here real fast? Spike, you watched this as it was happening?
This was posted by a dear friend of mine to his social media account.
Do you remember what time this was?
Well, he posted this at around 10 o'clock.
Okay.
I think this was in, I believe, the 7 o'clock or earlier broadcast.
Okay.
From KIRO 7.
So it was much earlier.
So if the shooting happens, if the timeline of the shooting is 6 o'clock, and you have 7 people, possibly 7 or 8 people injured, you have 2 people died on the scene, 1 person's taken to Harborview and dies from their injuries. All this information is relevant. There's a second suspect possibly on the loose. They know this information. Then you have KIRO TV around 7 or so in the 7 o'clock news hour. So like maybe it's into 8 o'clock.
Was it the final of that clip? Because
No, I have more on the clip.
Yeah, because that'll let me know exactly if it's the same clip I referenced earlier. So.
When Officer Timothy Brenton was shot on Halloween many, many years ago, but at the time there wasn't a suspect. There was a suspect outstanding, but nobody really knew how to react to that because we had no information, and it turns out the suspect was miles away before we knew anything. We don't know what to tell you in this case about this either. We are only going to report confirmed information. We know that you're online and you're seeing all kinds of speculation and things that are being reported as fact, and I promise you half of what you're hearing is going to be retracted later if it doesn't come from an official source. We have to be careful as professional journalists to tell you exactly what's being...
So this was in the 10 p.m. cast?
Yeah, there was an earlier clip I sent Laura that was of worse quality. Do we have that? Can you play that? Because that was earlier.
I have that. Here we go. Here's a little bit of that.
If it doesn't come from an official source. We have to be careful as professional journalists to tell you exactly what's being confirmed right now.
I'm sorry, I just can't get over this. I hope that the people in charge of communications for our city and our public safety are, to your point, are aware of all of the information that is circulating out there that grows and lives and breathes in the void of information, in the silence and the lack of official confirmed information.
We got to jump to a break real fast. Do you want to stick around for a couple more minutes?
Yeah, sure, I'll stick around.
Because we got a lot of information on this. It's interesting. I want to pose this as a question of the day, though, for the audience out there. Is somebody going to lose their job over this? I mean, when you look back at like the history of mayor's offices and you look back on, Katie Wilson's in charge of Seattle. Sean Barnes is the chief of police. There's a lot of questions around where he was. He kind of cleared that up, but there's still some questions about like, hey, is he a full-time resident of Seattle? Does he still live elsewhere? Or does he live here? And people are wondering. And so does that have any relevance in the way that they respond to these things? If he's constantly out of town, is that a problem for a police chief in a city like Seattle, which, there was 2 shootings this weekend? One on Friday and then one on Sunday?
Yeah.
So that's a problem. Is somebody going to lose their job over this? I want to know your answers to that. And what's your general take on how Seattle's currently being run? Because if I'm basing on what I've seen from these press conferences from last night and today, it's not going super great. We're going to get back to those at 1:30. We'll get those. That's the question of the day. You can hit us up at 888-973-5476, Muckleshoot Casino Resort text line. We got some more audio on this. There was another interesting thing regarding cameras. I would like to get into this with you guys in just a second because two different things were said yesterday back to back at the press conference. SPD says one thing, Katie Wilson says another thing, and then Katie Wilson says a third thing today in the press conference. I'm going to play you all those clips, and you guys can help us figure out what's going on. All right, we'll be right back. Stick around.
This hour is brought to you by Sunset Auto Family.
I heard a lot of gunfire.
It really sounded like a firework at first.
A community searching for answers.
Breaking news, a mass shooting at Seattle Center.
500 plus people just like stampeding our way.
It was horrible. The kids right there screaming, trying to get their dad.
The station you trust when it matters most.
Detectives are working to track down everyone involved.
KIRO News Radio. 97.3 FM and mynorthwest.com.
Not all roofs are created equal, and not all warranties are either. This is Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. Right now, take advantage of free lifetime Golden Pledge warranties on all GAF shingle installations and save up to $3,000 or choose 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest up to 24 months. Summertime savings won't last forever. Protect your home with a roof you can count on for decades. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today. Held to a higher standard since 1968.
And Doug.
Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons, and lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Your coffee would never get cold. Your flight would always be on time. And your mattress would always respond to you and your unique sleep needs. Sleep Number mattresses are designed to respond to your body and shift with your changing life, helping you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number. To a good life sleep.
It's Jonathan here from DUI Heroes, and I'm here today with a teenager who's just about to get her driver's license, and she's got some questions for me about driving, alcohol, and how to not end up in my office.
I got invited to a high school party this weekend. What should I do if there's drinking there?
First of all, don't engage in that conduct. It's illegal for you to do it. You're underage and you could get in trouble. Even if you're not behind the wheel, if for some reason the police get called out to that party because of a noise complaint, every teenager at that party is going to find themselves arrested and charged with something called minor in possession of alcohol, which is a gross misdemeanor. It means it could put you in jail for up to a year. So just don't engage. If you do, please don't get behind the wheel. Do the right thing. Call a parent, call a rideshare, just be safe. That was a great question. And if you or any of your friends find yourselves this summer in contact with law enforcement, please give us a call at 1-800-DUI-HERO or online at DUIHeroes.com.
What would you do if the person you love needed round-the-clock care and you had no plan to pay for it?
I was very worried about running out of money.
When Mike's wife was diagnosed with dementia, he turned to LifePoint Law and Elder Law attorney Rajiv Nagayich.
And then he said, "You're going to be okay, but we have to get through these steps." Then I felt a whole lot better going into it. It was still a very difficult process, but in the end, I knew that there was someone there that if I needed help, understood what I'm going through.
LifePoint Law helped Mike protect his wife, his finances, and his future.
They laid it out really well up front. They give you a very in-depth plan. There are so many things that you don't know. I could never have done it on my own.
Register for a free LifePoint Law retirement planning seminar in Federal Way August 1st, Puyallup on the 4th, Tacoma on the 6th, or Bellevue August 8th. Space is limited, so sign up today at LifePointLaw.com. That's LifePointLaw.com.
Holy smokes, I can see. Hey everybody, it's Rick Riz, and I just had refractive lens exchange from K2 Vision, and it's amazing. K2 Vision RLE means no more readers or glasses for me. Plus, I'll never get a cataract. Now, when I call a game, you won't see those readers dangling from the end of my nose to see the field and then my notes. I only wish I had done it sooner. It's like seeing a whole new ball game. K2 Vision RLE was quick and painless, over in just minutes, and I knew I was in great hands. The K2 Vision RLE team has done over 150,000 lens procedures. You can trust their stuff. K2 Vision RLE is my permanent solution to a lifetime of great vision. It could be yours too. Enjoy life's good years without readers, glasses, contacts, or cataracts. Get your free Zoom consult now at K2VisionRLE.com. Then you can make the same call I did. Goodbye, glasses. K2VisionRLE.com.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it today at carsforkids.org. Your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call 1-877-CARS4KIDS to donate your car today. That's cars with a K.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Nate Connors. A 15-year-old suspect is in custody after last night's mass shooting at Seattle Center that left 3 dead and at least 4 wounded, including a 2-year-old boy. Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson.
Many people who were not physically injured will carry what they experienced yesterday with them for a long time.
Police are still trying to identify a second suspect. It appears 2 people were shooting at each other during the bite of Seattle. King County Executive Jermai Zahilai says the violence is heartbreaking, saying the bite of Seattle has long been a place that brings families and the community together. Washington Congresswoman Susan Del Bene says she's heartbroken by the violence that claimed multiple lives and left others injured. She offered condolences to victims, families, and the broader Seattle community while thanking law enforcement, first responders, and medical teams for their quick response and care for those hurt. Seattle police are searching for 2 men who parachuted from the Space Needle, jumping more than 500 feet. Police say the 2 men bought tickets Friday night for the observation deck, then came out of the bathroom wearing helmets and gear, climbed over glass barriers, and backflipped off the ledge. Witnesses were stunned and tell ABC.
They were running towards the glass and they jumped up, and that's when Jacob was like, they're climbing up, and I'm like, oh my God, go watch Emerson, go.
Police say the men will face criminal charges once they're taken into custody. A shootout on Capitol Hill Friday night left 2 bystanders with gunshot wounds. KIRO 7's Jason Sloss has more.
Officers were already in the area for a nightlife emphasis patrol when they heard gunshots near 11th Avenue and East Pike Street just before 11:30. Police say a group of people opened fire on a man walking alone. That man then shot back. During the shootout, 2 bystanders were hit. A man was shot multiple times in the leg and a woman was hit in the ankle. Both were taken to Harborview but are expected to be okay. And more than 50 shell casings were found at the scene, and several buildings and parked vehicles were also hit, and no arrests have been made.
And a check on Wall Street. Big gains for the Dow. NASDAQ and S&P 500 are lagging. The Dow up 250, S&P 500 up 8, the NASDAQ down 2. And now checking your KIRO News Radio traffic. Express lanes near 520, a collision blocks your right center lane. This is just past 520. North 5 main line, you're slow from the West Seattle Bridge in the downtown. Another brief backup there at the Ship Canal Bridge. South 5, we're slow from Lake City Way in the downtown. South 405 off and on slowing between Factoria and Renton. And if you're heading into Olympia, South 5 slows between Lacey and downtown, starting near Cabela's. And now check that weather. 78 and mostly sunny today. Tuesday will start off cloudy, scattered showers turning sunny by the afternoon and a high near 74. Then mostly sunny through Friday, where the afternoon high Friday will reach the low 80s. Mostly sunny and 72 in downtown Seattle. I'm Nate Connors, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
All right, welcome back to the show. Luke Ducey is hanging out with us. We are talking about all of the horrible news out of the bite of Seattle. You guys, Spike, when's the last time you went to bite of Seattle?
It's been several years since I was.
But it's a big event still.
It was over 250,000 people. Last year, 280,000 people went to the bite of Seattle, according to official numbers. They still don't have numbers on yesterday's event. Yeah. But videos that we've all seen from the crowd, the fleeing
it looks huge.
Crowd. It was a massive. And this was Sunday evening at 6 o'clock. There was still a huge crowd. Yeah, I haven't been in quite a while, but my kid was working at the center yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Mike. We can talk about that in a couple minutes because my kid was.
There's
also,
a whole separate parental feeling.
There's a separate shooting. My kid was literally in the aftermath of a public shooting twice this weekend. My kid was on Capitol Hill Friday night, and my kid was at the center yesterday. Yeah. So
this is a crazy weekend in the O'Neill household.
This was, and you know, My kid's fine. My kid's completely safe. My kid was actually in the bar at the Capitol Hill shooting that Nate just referenced in the last newscast, where shooters aimed at one particular person. 2 bystanders were shot. One of those shot bystanders made their way into the bar my kid was at, and which my kid had been out front of literally 3 minutes prior.
Oh.
My kid had just come into this bar.
Terrifying.
And a shooting victim comes into the bar, and the entire bar falls to the floor. My kid shot some video of it I've shared with the news department. We'll see if that's useful. But I found out about this, 2 o'clock Saturday morning. Then my kid's working in Seattle Center today. He's an usher at the Pacific Science Center. And then we get news of this active shooter at this mass shooting at Seattle Science Center, or at Seattle Center, excuse me. So it's been quite the weekend at the O'Neill household.
Let me ask you a question as a parent who actually had somebody there, and you're actually the second parent that I've talked to in the newsroom today who had a child at the event or near the event.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: when they were asked about the second suspect, they said no threat to the public, which I thought was a very strange thing. I'm going to play you this clip. This is Tyrone Davis. This is last night. This is 5 hours after the shooting. And I'm going to try to pick up halfway through this clip here, so it might not be perfectly timed. But listen to this.
Years, and, thankfully we had officers on the scene that were brave, went to those shots, and prevented more victims from being injured. This is going to be an ongoing investigation. We're going to be out here for several hours trying to figure out exactly what happened tonight. Right now, we believe that we have no outstanding threat to the community.
No outstanding threat to the community. What's your guys' feeling on that? Because I had a very strong reaction to them saying that, and I have a very specific reason why, but I'd love to get your takes on it.
For me, if you don't have the suspect in custody, you have no right to say there's no threat to the community.
100%.
I know they retrieved 2 guns at the scene of yesterday's Seattle Center shooting, and I'm not sure if those were the 2 guns involved in the back and forth.
Neither are
shooting. Neither are they. And I didn't know this at the time. I learned about all this morning as we're uncovering more and more information, because the press conference didn't come until 5 hours after the shooting. Next one was 12 hours after that.
Yeah.
Again, the lack of public information for them to say, I don't think they have any right to say the city is not in danger or there's no threat to the public community at 11 o'clock last night.
Why would they say something like that, Lou?
It's a good question. I don't know. It was confusing. I was wondering myself. Sometimes, you cover cases where it might be a murder-suicide, and you don't, and they can't say that exactly yet, but they'll say no threat to the public. And that's usually kind of a thing to reporters to say, hey, this is like a murder-suicide, but we can't say that officially. Language. It's kind of like, so you kind of get it.
Yeah.
I didn't understand it. I don't think a lot of reporters understood it, and it was qualified. They tried to qualify that. Chief Sean Barnes at today's press conference with, well, what we meant was the scene itself was secure
in that specific
area.
Yeah, no threat to dignitaries or news reporters covering this press conference.
Right, which goes to this idea of, you asked me earlier about my perspective being a journalist and someone. I just wanted to clarify that too. I've got a better response for that real fast. From a journalist perspective, I'm frustrated about the inaccurate information, just like you heard the KIRO 7 anchors. I'm also really frustrated about no information or confusing information like that. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And it's not painting the right picture. And then when they backtrack, that's almost even worse. From a PR lens, though, it's clear from what's happened, the totality of everything, when you put all these little pieces together, they add up to a clear picture. And that is that mostly the mayor's office, not necessarily the police department, but they don't have a game plan in place as far as communications with clear messaging that are attached to a communications plan. Chief Barnes usually does, actually, in today's press conference. He looked like a pro. He was very calm. He had answers for everything. And if you notice, if you go back and watch, he pivoted twice.
Yeah.
He was asked about being frustrated. People are frustrated about him not being there last night because he was out of town.
He was at an event in
Dallas. Right. He said he pivoted that. He answered the question. Then he pivoted to say we should all be angry. We should all be angry about gun violence. That's number one, pivot number one. Number two, he got a question about being accurate and taking too long to communicate, like we're all talking about. And he said, and he was asked about a possible second shooter and other information. He said they're working hard on getting information on that. And it said to the reporter, and I believe it was Como's Michelle Esteban, he said to her, you want us to be accurate, right? So it's going to take time to be accurate. So he went back to his messaging that snaps directly to his goals and mission, fighting gun violence.
Yep.
and being transparent with residents, which takes what? Takes accuracy, which takes what? Takes time. So,
well, then tell us what you don't know. If you can't tell us what you know because you don't know anything, tell us what you don't know.
Agree, but he wasn't in town. But he wasn't in town.
Which is a whole separate thing, which we're going to get into a little bit later in the show. Let me go back to the if the suspect is on the loose and they don't know who the second suspect is.
But we're all safe?
And they're telling everybody that they're safe. The reason that I think that they're doing that is they're trying to downplay a problem that they don't want to talk about, which is they kind of addressed today. This is Sean Barnes today, and he was asked directly, hey, is this gang activity? Because from the outside, if I was just looking at this and I look at the age of the suspects who, the one who was arrested, I would say based on almost just the age of a 15-year-old with a gun, I would say there's a pretty high likelihood that this is gang-related. So he was asked about that, and this was his response.
Is there any indication that this is related to gang activity?
I don't know if it's gang activity, but certainly group activity. We have to determine...
gang or group? Like, what does that even mean?
The nexus behind what happened. Obviously, with someone so young, we have to determine if this person is a part of a group or a part of a gang, what the ongoing conflict was. But we're gonna do that. Our officers are going to work. We do have an intelligence section that's going to work to identify everyone that was involved to see if there is some connection between the two.
So here was the thing that really bugged me when they multiple times they said, we don't know who the second suspect is, or at least where they are, but you're totally safe. The problem with that is that 3 people died hours ago when they're saying this. So obviously the public is not safe. This idea that this is just like, even if it's gang activity, they don't want to admit as gang activity. Call it group activity, whatever they want to call it. That spilled into a very big public event. And if they did it once and 3 people are dead as a result, just 5 hours after they're making that statement, 5 hours prior to them making that statement, then clearly the public is not safe. So for them to say like, hey, there's no threat to the public, 3 people are dead.
7 people were shot.
7 people were shot, including a 2-year-old is injured. Perhaps an 8th. So to say that that there's no threat to the public.
Unless they do know
that the 19-year-old was one of the people involved.
Well, that, or they do know who the second shooter is, and they've got a pretty good idea of, they've got intel already on that they do belong to a gang or a group that they know, and the intel shows them that they hang out here, they go here, but here's how they operate, here's how they act.
But that's still a problem for me, because if they know it's a gang, and they're not sharing that information, there's a reason they're not sharing that information, that person's still at large.
Well, how do you get around that, right? Then you get around that by because we don't know for sure the exact identity of the shooter, because no witness is talking about it.
I don't disagree with what you're saying,
right.
But what I'm
saying is, you can see the way out for them.
Well, no, but here's where I disagree. I don't think that they say in that point, in that case, the public has no threat. You're not worried. Don't be worried about your safety.
Oh, I agree. That's why I'm still confused.
It's which leads to the larger question. Who's in charge of this thing? Like when I looked at the press conference today, obviously the person with the most gravitas would have been Sean Barnes. Would have been nice if he was in town. I understand why he was out of town, but it draws a larger question about like how often is that guy out of town? That's a whole separate question.
In a communicative world as we are today, a technologically communicative world as we are today, even if he's out of town, he's an active shooter in his city.
Yeah.
There's a mass shooting in his city.
Yes.
He's an active shooter. The chief of police should be directing the messaging, the time frame with which the public is alerted to danger, potential danger. I don't care if he's got to catch a flight from Dallas or Chicago or wherever.
There's no Wi-Fi on that plane?
He's got to be on a phone saying, get somebody in front of the public right now, let the public know what's going on,
and
how unsafe
the mayor looked
they are.
defensive, and at one point she was asked a direct question when Chief Barnes was at the podium, and he started answering, and then he stopped and said she should answer, and she kind of went motioned like she was going to go up to the podium, and then she stopped after he talked because he answered. It's very interesting.
That's what leadership looks like.
When you look back at the different reasons that sometimes we lose mayors, like they are either fired or they step down. Was Nichols? You guys remember Nichols?
Of course, yeah.
Wasn't it his driveway got cleaned up when nobody else's got cleaned up in the snow?
Yeah, that was enough.
And that was enough?
Those were the days, huh?
I mean, really, this is going to be interesting as this whole thing plays out. And this is all set to the tragic backdrop of now public events being in question for people's safety. I mean, like, I would not, if I was, considering bringing my family to a big event in Seattle, there's no way that this would not affect that decision. And Seattle's going to be grappling with that for a while.
I walked in the newsroom this morning. We all looked at each other, and I kind of said, guess we can't go to the Bite of Seattle anymore.
That's exactly what I said.
And I hate that I said that.
But it's exactly how I felt, too. It's not worth the risk to my family.
No.
All right, we got a lot more coming up. Luke Ducey, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. Lots of text messages on this. Hit us up, 888-973-5476. We got much more. Stick around.
I heard a lot of gunfire.
It really sounded like a firework at first.
A community searching for answers.
Breaking news, a mass shooting at Seattle Center.
500 plus people just like stampeding our way.
It was horrible. The kids right there screaming, trying to get their dad.
The station you trust when it matters most.
Detectives are working to track down everyone involved.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM and mynorthwest.com.
Hi, how can I help?
Well, my husband and I feel like we've outgrown our current money manager.
I see.
Our lives have changed, and we need something more than just mutual funds to help us in retirement.
She's right.
I hear that often. At Fisher Investments, we'd start by getting to know you, your finances, family, health, lifestyle. We tailor a portfolio around your goals and needs.
Sounds good.
Can you help with estate planning?
Yes. We have a team of specialists who can help you with estate planning, Social Security, investment income, and more. We'll get to know your whole financial picture and help keep you on the path to a comfortable retirement.
And your fees?
We have a simple, transparent fee that's a percentage of the value of your portfolio. So we do better when you do better.
I feel better already.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com/different. Investing in securities involves a risk of loss.
What if you could have the most reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi? And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years guaranteed? Now through August 24th, new Xfinity customers can get our best price on gig Wi-Fi this summer before it disappears. Just $50 a month for 5 years. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and our best equipment included. Plus, get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. It's Wi-Fi that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them. Like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense. Plus, it keeps you protected from online threats. And get Peacock Premium included for 2 years. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities. Get it now at Xfinity.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Speeds vary. Use of fiber coaxial cable. Learn more at Xfinity.com/same-day Wi-Fi.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz. If your air conditioner is barely hanging on, CM Heating has one of the best offers I've heard this summer. Right now, you can get any size high-efficiency AC system for just $179.99 a month with zero upfront costs. And here's the game changer. CM Heating's Comfort as a Service program includes lifetime repairs, annual maintenance, and even filters at no additional charge ever. Go to cmheating.com and schedule your free estimate online today.
License number CMHEAHL 751LW.
Hey, how's your money situation? Are you ready for retirement? Well, if you want to know what the pros are doing to make wealth multiply and retire like royalty, then you need to listen to this show, Sound Path Through Retirement, with Ben Koval and Matt Leibarger. Get your money right and tune in every weekend, Saturdays at 10 a.m. and noon on KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Those words weren't written for history books. They were written for you. But it's hard to pursue happiness when aging is part of everyday life. John Curley here. Longevity Medical Clinic was created to help people with overall wellness and longevity, including diabetes management, heart health, weight management, inflammation reduction, nutrition, cognitive health, hormone therapy, and more. I can tell you from personal experience, being a patient for 17 years, I have a richer, fuller life, and I'm better able to pursue my own happiness. As America celebrates 250 years of independence, give yourself the chance to reclaim yours. Independence from aging. Take control of your health before small issues become big problems. Experience a smarter, proactive approach to aging, backed by decades of experience with longevity. Do what I did and feel like yourself again. Get your free health analysis at Longevity Medical Clinic. Find out how at lmclinic.com.
Did you know that nearly half the homes in Western Washington are not properly insulated or not insulated at all? That may be the reason why your home is way too hot in the summer and way too cold in the winter. It may also be the reason that your energy bills are sky high. Right now, Insulation Northwest is offering a free inspection of your home's insulation. This is a $199 value and it's absolutely free, no obligation. Just call today and Insulation Northwest will arrange a time that works with your schedule. We'll perform a thorough exam of your home's insulation and give you the advice you need to start saving thousands. Everyone who calls today will also receive a free infrared screening of your home using the latest technology. This will help reveal any hidden flaws in your home's protective energy blanket. What do you have to lose? It only takes about an hour and it's absolutely free. Call Insulation Northwest today, the real insulation company.
InsulationNorthwest.com. Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it today at carsforkids.org. Your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call 1-877-CARS4KIDS to donate your car today. That's cars with a K.
The Mariners are lighting up the sky all summer long with fireworks nights thanks to T-Mobile. Next up is the 50-season celebration show on July 31st after the team takes on the Minnesota Twins. Get your tickets and check out the complete lineup at mariners.com/fireworks.
All right, welcome back to the show. We got a lot of stuff that we're going to cover from the Seattle Center shooting. We're going to get more into that during the 1 o'clock rundown. That is a national story, so it does meet it meets the level of storytelling that we need for the 1 o'clock rundown. So we will discuss that just a little bit, and then we have our 1:30 question of the day about leadership and your reactions to it. But something else happened in the Seattle Center. Was this over the weekend as well? This was
yeah.
on Friday, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. This obviously, thankfully, and look at this. This is live on CNN. We have in the studio right now. This is wild. This is on right now. Over the weekend, when's the last time you went up in the Space Needle, Spike?
Last Christmas.
Okay.
We go up every year. That's where we meet Santa.
It's
easier for him because
cool.
it's lake and land up there.
It's still a thing, even though
it's very cool. And anybody who comes to town, that's one of the must things.
They always want to go,
especially with the new refurbishment and redesign and
100%
walls of glass.
So people are up there, tourists are up there. It's a beautiful day Friday. Everybody's out there enjoying the views, and then these two guys get up, and we have video that's on right now. If you're not watching on our live YouTube, you should be. Go to KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM, and you can watch live with us. These two guys are out there on the viewing deck, and if you have been to the viewing deck or if you've ever been to the Space Needle, you know that it's protected by what looks to be like a 10 or 12-foot glass wall. It's really big.
Yeah, I noticed how tall that is.
And it's surrounding it so that it protects people from falling off.
Yeah, it does.
Unless you're trying to get off.
Yeah, it is.
And so two guys climb up over the glass wall. And describe for the audience, Spike, what happens next, for anybody who's not watching.
So first off, these two gentlemen came up to see the Space Needle observation deck, which hundreds of thousands of people do every year.
Yeah.
They came up through the elevators with backpacks containing parachutes and helmets and GoPros, which I have a different question about. Are they not searching the people that come to the top of the Space Needle for helmets and parachutes?
How did they get their stuff up there?
Exactly. They were small backpacks. It's not like they were like the parachute you think from a skydiving movie. The base jumpers have little parachutes that are literally handheld like a loaf of bread, and as soon as they jump, they release those.
Yeah,
right.
But I'm looking at the video right now.
They got helmets and GoPros.
It's a healthy size backpack.
They then come out of the they put on their helmets in the bathroom, come out, run toward the wall from the crowd, and then go up and over the glass wall, down on the landing platform outside of it, and jump from there.
They do a backflip off of it.
One of them does a backflip. One of them just you went up to the Space Needle all your life, right?
Yeah.
You remember the steel wires that were put there because suicide prevention. I didn't realize until I saw this video that the new configuration of all glass, all view, all the time doesn't stop people from being able to jump off the Space Needle. I had never realized. This new configuration doesn't prohibit.
It would require, it does require them to jump up and climb the glass, which could be prohibitive.
Well, but somebody's determined to take their life.
That's true.
I think could probably make the same ascent as a guy wanting to base jump for his social media feed.
Here's what was confusing to me, though. Well, a couple of things are confusing to me about this. Number one, you have to have some sort of a death wish to jump off.
Yeah, well,
these base jumpers, they probably feel safe doing this. And obviously, it's an adrenaline rush, and I can understand to some extent, the attraction to it. I would never in a million years do it. They probably felt safe because they trust the equipment that they brought with them. But yes, like that glass wall needs some other protection, obviously, so that people can't climb up over it. Now, it would prohibit you from being able to see the sky above you, and maybe that's the problem. But why can't you just have glass above there?
Whatever. Yeah, well, yeah, something. But it used to
around
I'm not
an
wishing,
edge, something.
It's wonderful. It's beautiful. I love the glass floor. It freaks a lot of people out. It is really an incredible experience to be up there on the observation deck. But I'm glad that thank goodness they were base jumpers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think you do. And I'm mystified. I never realized that they had taken away the safety guards from someone who's not in their right mind, who's going through a mental crisis, for people to use the most public place we have, our signature landmark.
And as I understand, they don't have any suspects for who these guys are.
They're not,
Isn't I would think too, like the base jumping community. This to me reminds me of what's the movie with Keanu Reeves and
Point Blank.
Point Blank. It's like there's a small community of like daredevils locally here, thrill seekers, adrenaline junkies, who probably post similar videos. And like, if I'm doing an investigation, I'm starting in that community right there for sure.
Well, we got clear views of their faces.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. All right, 1 o'clock rundown's coming up next. Stick around, bear back.
I heard a lot of gunfire.
It really sounded like a firework at first.
A community searching for answers.
Breaking news, a mass shooting at Seattle Center.
500 plus people just like stampeding our way.
It was horrible. The kids right there screaming, trying to get their dad.
The station you trust when it matters most.
Detectives are working to track down everyone involved.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM and mynorthwest.com.
We all know a cancer diagnosis is physically and emotionally draining, but it can be financially draining too. That's why Northwest Hope and Healing is here to help. I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda, a plastic surgeon who is proud to be part of Northwest Hope and Healing's mission. We provide a lifeline for breast and gynecologic cancer patients. We cover essentials like food, utilities, and childcare so patients can focus on healing. Since the year 2000, we have distributed over $3 million in direct financial assistance to thousands of local cancer patients. And you can make a direct impact. Mark your calendar for Life in Color, a summer brunch, auction, and fashion show on August 23rd at the Somme Hotel and Spa in Woodinville. It's an unforgettable afternoon of hope and inspiration, celebrating local cancer survivors. Get your tickets now for Life in Color on August 23rd. Go to nwhopeandhealing.org to learn more. That's nwhopeandhealing.org.
Welcome to this week's Puget Sound Express Whale Report. According to naturalists from Puget Sound Express, humpback whales stole the show this week. On one unforgettable evening, more than 20 humpbacks were spotted spouting across the Strait of Juan de Fuca, capped by an incredible double breach. Later in the week, fan favorites Stitch and Trident circled nearby for a full hour, treating passengers to the look of a lifetime, while Hemlock breached and slapped her long white flippers again and again. Family-run Puget Sound Express offers half-day and full-day guaranteed whale-watching tours departing from Edmonds, Seattle's most popular and well-reviewed whale tours. Morning departures often sell out, so be sure to check out their afternoon departures as well. Orcas, humpbacks, gray whales, minke whales, and so much more. Don't miss out on your chance to see whales in the wild. Family-run Puget Sound Express guarantees you'll see whales or your next trip is absolutely free. Book online at PugetSoundExpress.com.
For 250 years, Americans have believed in one powerful idea, that we are meant to live free. Free to work hard, free to move, free to enjoy life without being held back. But if the natural effects of aging are slowing you down, it might be time to declare your independence from aging. John Curley here. Longevity Medical Clinic has been treating the undesirable effects of aging for nearly 30 years. They have more clinical experience with actual patient care than any longevity practice in the country. I've been a patient for 17 years. Wow, time flies when you got a lot of energy. I don't know where I'd be today without longevity. Longevity Medical Clinic was started so people can get back to living life on their own terms, walking, working, exercising, and enjoying the moments that matter most. This year, as we celebrate 250 years of American independence, take a stand for your own freedom. Get your free health analysis at Longevity Medical Clinic. Find out more at lmclinic.com.
Jason Rance here. If your water heater is getting older, leaking, or running out of hot water, CM Heating has an affordable solution. Get a new gas or electric water heater installed starting at just $44.99 a month. With CM Heating's Comfort as a Service program, you'll get lifetime repairs and maintenance at no extra charge. Parts and labor covered for life. Plus, same-day installation is available in many cases. Schedule your free estimate today at cmheating.com.
License number CMHEAHL 750LP.
Looking for a simple solution to hair loss this summer? Get the same breakthrough one-day treatment I received at Advanced Hair during their once-yearly summer savings event. Your own natural hair begins to regrow the very next day, and Advanced Hair guarantees it will grow. Take advantage of your flexible summer calendar and get the most hair for your dollar during their best offer of the year. For details and a free consultation, call 425-449-8180. advancedhair.com.
Eggland's Best, the only eggs with more fresh and delicious taste, plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best, better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio, KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. President Trump, while traveling to Michigan to speak at an economic event, says he's in no rush to reach a temporary ceasefire deal with Iran. It comes after the president backed away from hitting Iran hard with strikes over the weekend, he says, to give diplomacy a chance. The president says Iran wants to restart talks.
I have a lot of patience. I have plenty of time. Plenty of time. Their whole shoreline's wiped out. The strait is in very good shape. And we're talking right now. You know, they wanted to talk.
Sources tell ABC News the pause in strikes is also out of concern for the U.S. stockpile of air defense systems, including Patriots. Seattle authorities continue to search for a second suspect wanted in connection with the deadly shooting at a food festival last night. 3 people were killed, 4 others injured. Police say a 15-year-old is in custody. Temporary protected status, or TPS, for more than 300,000 Haitians set to expire today, along with protections for thousands of Syrians. It follows a Supreme Court ruling last month. This is ABC News. Former FBI Director James Comey's attorneys filed a motion to dismiss the indictment charging him over the seashell formation that he posted on social media that read 8647 last year. Federal prosecutors claim that was a threat against President Trump's life. Here's ABC's Peter Harlambous.
Defense lawyers accused the Department of Justice of singling out Comey to, quote, prosecute one of the president's most prominent critics. They argue that the photo of seashells arranged in the numbers 8647 are a kind of political speech protected by the First Amendment. Comey has vigorously denied that his post was ever intended as a threat against Trump and is expected to plead not guilty in an arraignment scheduled for next month in North Carolina. Peter Harlambous, ABC News.
The long-awaited Gordie Howe Bridge opened today. It offers a second truck connection between Detroit and Windsor, Ontario. The bridge, named after legendary hockey player Gordie Howe from Canada, who spent 25 of his 26-year NHL career with the Detroit Red Wings. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
The mayor of Seattle addresses the delayed response to last night's shooting at the Bite. More on that coming up. But first, a check on your KIRO News Radio traffic. We cleared our earlier crash from the express lanes near 520, so all lanes are now clear and back open. North 5 has scattered backups approaching the West Seattle Bridge to the Ship Canal. About 15 minutes to get through all this. South 5, you're crowded from 85th in the downtown. Linwood to Seattle, less than a 20-minute commute. South 405, you're crowded through Newcastle into Renton. North 405 slows through the Renton S-curves. And Tacoma to Olympia, you've got about a 10-minute delay, taking you 45 minutes with a good 3 to 4 mile backup between Lacey and Olympia. This traffic report brought to you by KIRO News Radio.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Nate Connors. The mayor's office and police are facing criticism over a lack of information surrounding the mass shooting at Seattle Center. It took them 5 hours to first brief the media and public. Today, reporters pressed Mayor Katie Wilson on the delay.
As soon as we coordinated with SPD and agreed that it was time to talk to the media, as soon as we knew that we were going to be doing that, I and Governor Ferguson and Congresswoman Jayapal arrived on the scene within minutes.
She says her office did not delay the news conference. Wilson also acknowledged she spread misinformation, initially saying police arrested 2 suspects when in fact only one is in custody. A man wanted by U.S. Marshals is in custody following an armed robbery and police pursuit in Tukwila. Police say the suspect threatened a victim with a knife before stealing the victim's vehicle from a parking lot on Interurban Avenue South. Officers quickly located the stolen car after a brief pursuit, used a pit maneuver to bring it to a stop. The suspect refused repeated commands, leading officers to deploy a police canine before taking him into custody. That case remains under investigation. Brian Koberger is trying to challenge his conviction in the 2022 murders of 4 University of Idaho students. Koberger now says he wants to withdraw his guilty plea and get a new trial. In an interview with the New York Times, Koberger claimed he's innocent, saying his plea was based on what he called false promises and blatant disinformation. Koberger pleaded guilty last year to the murders of 4 University of Idaho students and is serving 4 consecutive life sentences. An up-and-down weekend for the Mariners ended with a win after dropping games on Friday and Saturday against the Texas Rangers. The Mariners bounced back yesterday with a win thanks to the bat of outfielder Dominic Canzone.
The 2-0. Swung on and destroyed. It is high. It is deep. It is gone. Dom Canzone, 3-run home run, and the Mariners have the lead. It is 4-3 in the 7th inning. That was the big swing the Mariners have been looking for.
It sure was. Canzone added to the lead in the 9th inning with an RBI double. M's win 6-4. The team's looking to split the series against Texas with a win this afternoon. And now check on your KIRO News Radio weather. Mostly sunny today with a high around 78. Clouds will thicken up overnight and bring some scattered morning showers Tuesday. Mostly sunny by tomorrow afternoon with a high closer to 74. And then mostly sunny through Friday with temps gradually climbing. Low 80s on Friday. Mostly sunny and 73 right now in downtown Seattle. I'm Nate Connors, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO Newsradio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
And now, it's time for the Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio with your hosts, Jake Skorheim and Spike O'Neill.
Welcome back to the show. 1 hour down, 2 hours to go. Man, that last hour was fast. There's just some days where it just goes pop, pop, pop. It just goes so quick. We have a lot of stuff we're going to cover here. This is the 1 o'clock rundown. We do the top stories coast to coast. And in this 1 o'clock rundown, a lot of times we end up talking about more national stories. The first story we're going to start with is the shooting at the Seattle Center by the Seattle on Sunday, which is actually a really big national story right now. If you go on any of the big news websites, your CNNs, your Fox Newses, your MS Nows, I watched the press conference from earlier today, the 11 o'clock press conference with Chief Sean Barnes, Mayor Katie Wilson. That was a live CNN take. So clearly the nation is paying attention. So we're going to start with that. We're going to work our way out to some other stuff that's quite a bit lighter in topic. And then at 1:30, we're going to get back to our question of the day, which is regarding some more stuff from the Seattle Center shooting.
What's next for Seattle? With regard to leadership?
Yes.
With regard to the citizens of Seattle being safe to enjoy the amenities of our city?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of questions about, like, who's in charge right now? Is somebody going to lose their job because of this?
It's a great question.
There's a lot of he said, she said that's happening because we saw last night. Let's start with this. This is really interesting. CCTV cameras. They arrested one suspect who's 15 years old. They're looking for another one. As far as I know, they still have not made a second arrest. And people were asking at the time, they said, hey, is there cameras that might be operating in this general area when you have 250,000+ people in a specific area? I imagine they have to take into account the security, possibilities.
Yeah, and the Seattle Center is a privately owned and operated entity covering 74 acres. But there is closed circuit TV cameras.
Is it not owned by the city of Seattle?
I believe it's managed, if not owned by. Maybe I'm misspeaking here, but I know it's the Seattle Center is its own private entity. It's not governed by city government. Private security, oftentimes public. Of course, police are always there as well.
I was under the impression that they receive public dollars.
Maybe I'm wrong. They make it public dollars. Isn't there a big
levy? Isn't there a big levy, like a $1.5 billion levy to fix it?
That's true. That's true.
It must be city. Yeah,
but there are cameras on site.
Yes.
But that was a point of uncertainty at the press conferences.
And not only did obviously it was front and center at the press conference after the fact, but leading up to the Bite of Seattle, before anything even happened. This video I'm about to play for you, this is from a TikToker who's walking around Bite of Seattle. This is on Saturday. This is the day before the shooting happened. And this TikToker's walking around noticing there is quite a bit of lack of security here and actually drawing attention to this, and then posted this video. Listen to this.
With no security, no pat down, no search of the bag. Surprised there's not any security walking around. It's Bite of Seattle got the budget. Y'all got the sponsors. You got the support. Make it happen. Keep the people safe. Seattle, you should not be able to just walk into this festival with all of these people, with all of these vendors, with no security. We in here with the bag, you feel me? With the bag. If nobody else is gonna talk about it, I'm gonna talk about it. We officially found the security out eating food in a fenced area.
He's walking around looking for security. He said he finally found some security. They were enjoying some of the local cuisine, which is the point of Bite of Seattle.
Let me clarify my misspeak a moment ago. It's not private property. It's a publicly owned civic center.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But there are private. The exemptions are the Space Needle is privately owned.
Yeah.
Seattle Science Center is privately owned. And
they rent out those spaces.
Yes. So I apologize for.
No worries. So this TikToker is walking around. He's noticing the lack of security, and then after the shooting, they got a lot of questions. This is Assistant Police Chief Tyrone Davis, who was there acting as police chief because Sean Barnes was out of town, and he was asked about cameras. Are there any cameras that might be operating in the Seattle Center that captured what happened as they continue their investigation for the second possible suspect? And are those going to be accessible? Listen to this.
Are there surveillance cameras in the area, and are any of those city-operated surveillance cameras?
There were no surveillance cameras in the immediate area where the shooting occurred.
Any idea on a motive?
Not at this time.
Okay, so he says no cameras in this area. But then moments later, Katie Wilson is asked about cameras. She seems to say that there are cameras, and they're sorting through whether or not there's relevant footage. The point of this is it doesn't seem like they know a whole lot about what's going on. Hopefully they've cleared some of this up, which we'll play you a cut here in just a second. But listen to this. This was last night.
Mayor, after this tragedy, would you consider adding cameras to Seattle Center and maybe other parts of the city near Seattle Center?
My understanding is that there are cameras in Seattle Center, and we're working to see if any relevant footage is on those cameras. Okay, so you had Seattle Assistant Police Chief Tyrone Davis saying there's no cameras. Then you have Katie Wilson shortly thereafter saying that there are cameras, as far as she knows, and that they're sorting through relevant footage. And then today, she was further asked about that, about these CCTV cameras. And listen to her answer on this, Spike. Give me your take on what she's trying to get across here. The safety of the residents of Seattle is my highest responsibility, and I take that very seriously. In the course that we've charted on the CCTV cameras, which is a matter of public record, that means balancing various kinds of safety for different communities, and that is the motivation behind the course that we're taking.
Now I'm confused about... I'm sorry. I'm kind of confused. Are you confused, or is that?
No, I know. I know the dance. I recognize these steps. I recognize the dance.
What two-step is she
Safety
doing?
to certain communities. She's talking about privacy. She's talking about communities.
All the stuff that led up to the World Cup conversations.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, with regard to all surveillance, we don't want to live in a surveillance state, and there is a fine juggling act going on between security and privacy with regard to surveillance state.
Mm-hmm.
And to clear up Assistant Chief Davis's comments. There is surveillance cameras at Seattle Center, but there are blind spots because it's a big 74-acre facility, and where this specific incident took place on the northeast corner, I think, or northwest corner of the Armory was a blind spot for surveillance cameras. So he said there's no camera footage of the incident. I believe, if I can remember correctly what he said. Then the mayor said, look, there is footage that may be relevant. We're scanning it because there is. If you see somebody running from, or I don't know, I mean, everybody was running after shots were fired. But there may be something caught on one of these cameras that do operate at the center that could be helpful in the investigation.
What's interesting, though, is now with her statement today where she's saying, well, that's a part of my policy that we've already discussed.
Keeping everybody safe in every shape and form of the words.
Well, here's the thing. So we know after World Cup, you have the World Cup happen. They estimate that there's going to be 750,000 tourists coming into town for this thing, from wherever they're coming from,
all over the world,
yeah. And she is convinced by other agencies, of which there was, I think, nearly 50 cooperating agencies or something involved in keeping Seattle safe during that time, where there was no incidents, by the way, which is great. She's convinced this is a heightened state where we do need to have these stadium cameras on. The day after World Cup ends, she shuts those cameras off, even though in other parts of the city there are some of these CCTV cameras that the city has access to. So people are wondering now, were some of these Seattle Center cameras, were some of those shut off in that batch that she was talking about? And that still is not clear to me, and I don't know if she's necessarily, but that's kind of what I was taking away from it as I'm listening to her answer today. This is at the 11 a.m. news conference. I'm just going to play the second half of this for you one more time, where she's talking about her matter of policy, which is, part of the public record. She's talking about whether or not she's, uses these CCTV cameras.
The course that we've charted on the CCTV cameras, which is a matter of public record, that means balancing various kinds of safety for different communities, and that is the motivation behind the course that we're taking.
So to me, I'm still wondering, okay, well, what is the course that you're talking about? Was the course that you shut the cameras off prior to this happening, and that's why there's no footage? Or is there footage, but you're not willing to use it, or you haven't
well, there was a question there where the Chief Barnes came back to town and said he hasn't reviewed footage yet. Hasn't had a chance to review footage yet. Did I hear that correctly?
I believe I did hear that part. Yeah. I mean, the whole thing is it doesn't feel like they have their ducks in a row, and it would be nice if they were maybe a little tighter with the way that they respond to these things. And we'll see how it plays out.
Well, this is a city that wants to be able to feel safe, and that our resources are being allocated to make sure that we are safe, to do business, to run a business, to visit, all the things that we want to do that we pay for in our tax dollars, the amenities that we fund, everything we're talking about paying, whether it's law enforcement community or if it's surveillance cameras or anything else.
Yeah.
These are our dollars they're spending. It's all our money.
Let me ask you a question, and then we'll get into our next topic here. But the question of security was one that people were already asking before the event even turned tragic. Could they have done something? I think about an event that size, and I think about something that my family goes to every year, which is Seafair. I didn't go to it a lot until I got married to my wife, and her family, who's,
that's their tradition.
That's their tradition. Yeah. They always went to see the Hydros and the Blue Angels and all that stuff, and they made a weekend of it. So we always go now. We take the boys, and it's kind of a fun thing, and we love it. And if you want to get into Seafair is completely blocked off by fences. You cannot get in. Every fence entry point has a police officer there, an SPD officer who's standing there, who I assume has been, is being paid by Seafair for the extra time doing security. If you want to get in, you have to go through a bag check, all these different things. What's stopping them from something like Bite of Seattle? Because it's all kind of in the center there. Is that right?
Yeah.
It's like by the center house.
Well, the Bite of Seattle, it's almost every square inch of Seattle Center.
So why?
It's all over.
Do you think is it even reasonable to wonder if they could have security and the same level that they do for Seafair? Because the Seafair is like a huge chunk of the lake.
Well, they do Bumbershoot, which is a paid event, and you can't get in there without having a ticket and going through security.
So they do have security at Bumbershoot.
Absolutely, they do. And in fact, that this is a free event, maybe what they have in the past, but let be their guiding light, whether or not we need security or checkpoints or any other thing. But after an incident like this, I don't know how you ever have this event moving forward
without
a sense
security.
of security.
Yeah.
The same type of security used at other paid events. I know that part of Seafair is free, and then as the weekend becomes more
I think it's a Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you have to have a paid ticket. They're more worried about people getting in without paying than they're worried about people bringing in dangerous elements that could lead to public disaster. It seems.
Possibly. But they check all your bags. I mean, every time that we've gone in, they check your bags, they check your liquids, they do all those things.
Yeah. Heaven forbid you bring a free drink in. But but by all means.
But we're talking about dangerous things here.
You and me both.
So I don't see why they're not doing the same thing at Bite of Seattle. They should be checking to make sure that people are safe.
And whether it's gates or metal detectors or anything else. And I'm putting my mind in the head of a gang member for just a second.
We call those groups now. You're not allowed to call them
Put
gangs.
myself in the mind of a group, my group mind mentality. And I'm carrying a weapon. And I see somebody from a rival gang that I've got a beef with. If I see 6 or 7 police officers standing around anywhere I look, any direction I look, I may be a little more hesitant to pull my gun.
Yeah.
Than if I look around and see nobody of authority.
You're going to have to walk through some sort of a screening, even if it's just a...
Or that that you're within steps or in direct eyesight of a member of the law enforcement community or even a security force of any kind.
Yeah. All right, we're going to have more of that at 1:30. Let's move down to this other story. This is a lot lighter. Actually, this is a lot lighter.
Ironic that you chose that. I was hoping you would. Yeah. On a lighter note.
This is one of the biggest stories in the country right now.
Used to be. Sorry. They rate themselves.
It's getting smaller by the day. 1 in 8 U.S. adults is using GLP-1s. If you're unfamiliar with GLP-1s, you've been living under a rock. But in the last couple of years, this is the modern.
You've seen the
blue pill.
Singing commercials everywhere.
Of course,
whether it's a name brand or it's a derivative
Wegovy, it's Ozempic,
yeah.
it's whatever version they're selling at Costco. I mean, you can get it everywhere. You can get it. Amazon ships it right to your door.
Right to your door. You do a little there's still a little telemed exam.
Sure,
because it is still a drug that is not as well known or as well researched as a lot of people would like it to be. It came on so fast and so furiously. Like you said, 3 years ago, you never heard of it. 2 years ago, you were starting to see the commercials. Now you can have it dropped off in a brown box on your doorstep.
And just like the ED pills, it was discovered as a side effect.
Yeah.
I mean, the side effect of this, this was originally designed, this was a high blood pressure pill. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then people ends up losing weight.
And there's also talk that
was it high blood pressure? Was it for diabetes?
Diabetes.
Diabetes, I'm sorry. ED was blood pressure.
It shuts off your brain receptors, your craving receptors in your brain. They say it may have the potential to stop addiction in all forms, not just food addiction, drug and alcohol addiction. So there's so much that we still don't know about this, but why it's become so popular that 1 in 8 Americans are now using some form of this medication.
Because it works.
Because we like shortcuts. Exercise and better diet work. This works faster. It doesn't require me to change my life.
Well, it's easier when you're not
we love a shortcut.
It's easier, yes, 100%. When you're not having to sit there and stare at that piece of cake or that delicious Costco
or you
muffin.
You can look at it and now your brain doesn't care.
And you just go, yuck.
Yeah.
Not interested.
I don't need that. I've got snow tires to buy.
As you're injecting yourself with your GLP-1.
Yeah. 1 in 8 Americans now.
Yeah, that's fast. That's a lot. I mean, when you think about how many Americans there are that are underage, you're talking about that number is even bigger than it seems, because that's 1 in 8 Americans, not 1 in 8 adults.
Adults,
that's
no,
1 in
over
8
18.
Americans.
Yeah, 1 in 8 Americans. So that's, oh my God.
How many kids are there out there in America? I don't know.
Kids or just adults?
Yeah, but the kids aren't taking this. No. This is for, this is adults. I assume this is only adults taking this. I guess there's possible that there's some kids taking this, but I don't even know if that's legal.
That means like 40 million Americans basically are taking this. 40 million people in this country.
And you know what? They're looking good.
They're looking good.
All right, we got time for one more quick one. This is another story that I'm seeing around. This is a big one, or could potentially be a big one. San Andreas Fault has been ominously silent. And this is the fault line that caused underneath the city of San Francisco the giant quake in 1906. It basically decimated San Francisco. This is the West Coast nightmare that this fault line ends up shaking and moving and having a massive earthquake.
Every historic earthquake on the West Coast has been attributed to the San Andreas Fault. We know that it's there. It runs under the entirety of the western coast. And if it ever gets the big one, the entirety of California could be gone into the ocean. And they monitor these constantly. It's just like Mount Rainier.
Yeah.
They monitor it
got like
daily.
A little box with a ticker or something
on it.
There
are thousands of monitoring stations on Rainier and along this, and even more along the San Andreas Fault. So they know that every day there are literally hundreds, if not thousands of events, minuscule but constant, along the San Andreas Fault, and it's been eerily quiet.
Here's what researchers say. This is according to, I believe this is an LA Times article. Researchers estimated that key sections of the fault in Southern California are at their highest level of tectonic strain in the last 1,000 years. That's a big problem. They said the San Andreas, in other words, is locked, loaded, and inevitable. I mean, it really is like...
I don't mean to laugh, but how?
No, it's clever wording. When I was a kid, did you ever see the movie Volcano with Tommy Lee Jones? Do you remember that?
Absolutely, L.A., yeah.
Okay, so in that movie, San Andreas Fault moves a little bit, and a volcano literally pops up out of the
San Andreas tar pit.
The tar pit, right there. And Tommy Lee Jones has to
La Brea
tar pit.
Yeah.
And Tommy Lee Jones is a FEMA coordinator, and he has to save the day. That was one of my favorite movies.
There's
when I was a kid.
lava rolling down Hollywood Boulevard. How could you not love it?
It's like this big, giant Hollywood spectacle. I think maybe 1996. I could be wrong
Somewhere
about the
there.
date.
Anne Heche was in that, if I'm not
Anne
mistaken.
Heche is like a geologist.
Yeah.
She's down in like the tubes doing research or something in the sewer, and the San Andreas Fault opens up. And
didn't somebody jump out of a subway car and walk through lava to save an innocent bystander?
Oh, I'm sure.
Right? And literally walked through lava, carrying the victim to safety.
You know what?
Until they died.
No. Different movie. You're thinking of Dante's Peak.
No. That was the lake?
That was the lake.
No.
Did they walk through lava?
They walked through lava.
Okay, well.
Jumped into lava and took step after step after step.
This is what we're getting ready for. Are you worried about it? I mean, you can't lose sleep on something like this.
You can't be worried about it. You can't. You can prepare. We got a go bag. We got provisions. Our house could survive 7 days without any kind of water or electric assistance from the outside world.
Yeah.
You know, my wife's she's pretty survivalist in proportions. Part of her social media feed's a lot different than mine.
Sure.
She gets a lot of advertisements for home bunkers and that kind of stuff.
She's got her 5 years of seed that people can buy.
Absolutely. Have you seen that? Have you seen the trailer for that movie, by the way?
No. The one where they're locked in their house?
Something locks everyone in their house and they have to farm in their living room, literally break through the floorboards and grow stuff. My wife saw that too. We got seed.
Yeah,
we got seed. We got water. We got perishables. We got hydro. You know, we got a water purifier. We got it all.
I think you're completely right. You just
I can at some point drink my own urine in my own home. Sure.
That's too much information.
Hey, my wife loves me. What can I say? I'm a lucky guy.
I'm already practicing just in case. No. I'm testing things out. Don't lose sleep over it. Obviously, we don't want it to happen. But there's literally nothing you can do about it.
Right.
So to be prepared a little bit is probably your best bet.
I mean, you could look at ground in Iowa. You could look at, you could.
You could. You're right.
You know, there's something you could do.
If you wanted to.
But then you're in Iowa. At some point in Iowa, you're ready to say, man, I'm thinking about moving to the San Andreas Fault.
Listen,
you know,
there's risk and reward to everywhere you might live.
Amen.
All right, we got a lot more coming up. We're going to get your reactions to what happened over the weekend in Seattle. We got your question of the day next. Stick around. We'll be right back.
This hour is brought to you by Insulation Northwest.
I heard a lot of gunfire.
It really sounded like a firework at first.
A community searching for answers.
Breaking news, a mass shooting at Seattle Center.
500 plus people just like stampeding our way.
It was horrible. The kids right there screaming, trying to get their dad.
The station you trust when it matters most.
Detectives are working to track down everyone involved.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM and mynorthwest.com.
Hey, Jake Skorheim here. After a mild winter, forecasters are predicting above average temperatures this summer across western Washington. And if your home is struggling to stay cool, your attic could actually be the culprit. Poor insulation or no insulation in your attic can account for up to 40% of the heat gain in your home over the summer. That puts a load on your air conditioner, and it can leave you sweating. Fortunately, Valentine Roofing, the team in the red van, they've got you covered. This summer, you can bundle energy-saving attic insulation with a new roof, and you can save 10%. That's better comfort, improved energy efficiency, and less strain on your cooling system. Thousands of homeowners have trusted Valentine Roofing for roofing, attic insulation, and complete home protection because every project comes with the Valentine experience. Seamless communication, meticulous cleanup, and extra mile service. Plus, with no money down on your project, you don't pay until the project is complete. So call 206 Roofing to save 10% when you bundle a new roof and attic insulation. That's 206 Roofing. And remember, when you see the red Valentine van, you know your home is in good hands.
What would you do if the person you love needed round-the-clock care and you had no plan to pay for it?
I was very worried about running out of money.
When Mike's wife was diagnosed with dementia, he turned to LifePoint Law and elder law attorney Rajiv Nagayich.
And then he said, you're going to be okay, but we have to get through these steps. Then I felt a whole lot better going into it. It was still a very difficult process, but in the end, I knew that there was someone there that if I needed help, understood what I'm going through.
LifePoint Law helped Mike protect his wife, his finances, and his future.
They laid it out really well up front. They give you a very in-depth plan. There are so many things that you don't know. I could never have done it on my own.
Register for a free LifePoint Law retirement planning seminar in Federal Way August 1st, Puyallup on the 4th, Tacoma on the 6th, or Bellevue August 8th. Space is limited, so sign up today at lifepointlaw.com. That's lifepointlaw.com.
Your old water heater's starting to peter.
DayandNight.net. Day and Night has $150 off installation of any new water heater, including tankless, backed by a free lifetime warranty.
Hi, I'm Bruce. When your old water heater leaks or fails, the damage could be catastrophic. Whether you need an emergency replacement or you're planning ahead before it leaks, give us a call and we'll help you get into hot water again.
Get $150 off installation of any new water heater. DayandNight.net.
50 seasons of moments. 50 seasons of legends. A once-in-a-lifetime event. Join Mariners past and present at T-Mobile Park August 7th through 9th for 50 Season Celebration Weekend. The festivities begin Friday with a post-game slugfest, the Alumni Home Run Derby featuring Ichiro and other former Mariners sluggers, presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort. Saturday will be a showstopper. 50 Season Celebration Night presented by Daktronics. Arrive early to witness the biggest gathering of franchise icons ever assembled as the 50 greatest Mariners from across all 5 decades are revealed.
It just continues. My.
The weekend wraps up on Sunday with a collectible 50 Seasons pin giveaway thanks to KeyBank. Seats are going fast. Get yours at mariners.com/tickets.
I like it hot.
Beg your pardon?
Can you make it hot for me, Dan?
I think so.
Half heated ain't hot enough.
No.
That's why I called you.
Apollo Plumbing.
Yeah, my sorry old water heater.
Oh.
Ain't getting me the hots anymore.
You want hot water.
That's what I said.
That's what we do at Apollo Plumbing.
And you're ready?
Right now.
When can you?
How about today?
Same day?
We'll have you in hot water tonight.
Clever. How about an upgrade?
A tankless water heater would mean endless hot water.
Now you're cooking.
That's just for starters.
Starters?
How about we make it a worry-free water heater?
Worry-free?
Wrenchie's worry-free warranty.
Which covers?
Repair, service, all included.
And when it wears out?
Apollo replaces it.
No extra charge?
Nothing.
Nil?
Nada. As an Apollo A-list member, you're covered.
And payments?
To fit your budget with approved credit, of course.
And I'm hot again.
Worry-free.
That's for me.
We're on our way.
Thanks for making it hot.
We're ApolloPlumbing.com.
Insulation rebates from PSC are at historic highs. American Crawl Space and Pest Services gave over $3 million in PSC insulation rebates last year, more than any contractor in Washington. Homeowners, business owners, and PSC trust American Crawl Space and Pest Services. Was your home built before 1990? Visit AmericanCrawl.com to see how much you can save on replacing your insulation.
American Crawl, the heroes you call.
This is Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. Our summertime savings event means 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months, backed by our unbeatable warranties. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo. Police say there is still a second suspect out there connected to yesterday's mass shooting at the Bite of Seattle. Chief Sean Barnes says there's no risk to the public as they try to confirm whether this was a gang-related shooting at Seattle Center.
There is a second shooter. We're trying to identify who that person is. Our officers need your help. If someone saw something or perhaps if someone has some video, we need to identify that person.
A 15-year-old suspect is in custody and is set to make their first court appearance any minute now. 3 people died, at least 4 people were hurt, including a 2-year-old boy who's recovering at the hospital. The man who murdered 4 University of Idaho students now says he is innocent and wants to challenge his conviction. ABC's James Longman has the latest.
In a new interview from prison with the New York Times, Brian Kohberger, who's serving 4 life sentences, says he now wants to withdraw his guilty plea and reopen his case. Kohberger reiterated his innocence in a call with the Times, saying his plea hinged on false promises and blatant misinformation.
Legal analysts say a plea change will be difficult for Kohberger, who pleaded guilty last year to killing those students in their home back in 2022. Closing bell reports. Mixed day on Wall Street as tech stocks saw some sell-offs. NASDAQ dropped 43 points. S&P 500 nearly even. Dow gained 262. Investor optimism, meantime, over a pause in U.S.-Iran fighting sent oil prices down. A barrel of Brent crude dropped about 7%. Droughts, demand, and supply disruptions have helped push beef prices to record highs this summer. ABC's Jim Ryan reports some relief may be on the way.
A major reason for soaring beef prices is the ban on imports of Mexican livestock imposed last year to keep the parasitic New World screwworm out of the U.S. cattle herd. The screwworm came anyway and has been detected in 42 animals in 15 Texas counties. Now the U.S. is lifting the cattle import ban in hopes of pushing down beef prices.
And now at 1:33, we head to the real-time traffic desk. Here's Nate Connors.
Thank you, Aaron. Harborstone Credit Union with our update. We're looking good. Most of our major routes are wide open. Heading through Seattle gets a little tough as expected. South 5, you're going to jam up in the U District into downtown. North 5 crowded before the West Seattle Bridge or the Columbia Tower. You'll catch that little break through the heart of downtown, and then a brief backup between Mercer and the Ship Canal Bridge. Plan on 15 minutes to commute through downtown. Over to South Tacoma, North 5, we're crowded from 84th up to the mall, and South 5 heading into Olympia. 4 to 5 miles of backups between Lacey and Olympia starting near Martin Way. Tacoma to Olympia, a 40-minute drive. Open a money market special online with 3.75 annual percentage yield with full access to your money the entire time at harborstone.com/moneymarket. Insured by NCUA. KIRO Newsradio real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
And see your forecast now. Increasing sunshine this afternoon. Highs in the upper 70s and low 80s. Tomorrow, some more clouds and chance for a stray shower or two, but otherwise mainly dry with highs in the mid-70s for Tuesday. Right now, 75 in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
All right, welcome back to the show. Well, we just got some pretty wild audio, and we're going to play for you in just a second. And it plays right into what we had planned on doing this segment, which is the question of the day. We wanted your response to what happened over the weekend at the Bite of Seattle, the mass shooting that happened there. And we asked you guys, we said, hey, like a couple of different questions. Do you guys feel safe going to public events in Seattle after this? We got a lot of response. And we also just wanted your general feelings about the way that all the information was communicated, who seems to be in charge right now, which I think is still a question mark. Let's read some of these, and then in just a moment, I'd like to also play Spike. Did you and I just watched this video that just came in?
Can we share the video or just the audio?
I think right now we can just play the audio.
Yeah, okay. It's a shame because the video's pretty good.
The audio is great too, actually, because we can describe it. But this is video that we'll play in just a second. Our audio we'll play in just a second. It's Sean Barnes, who had a press conference just a couple hours ago.
Well, the press conference was a joint conference between the mayor of Seattle, police chief of Seattle, governor of Washington, Representative John Paul. They were all there at this press conference.
Yeah.
But once things started going sideways for Mayor Wilson, it got shut down pretty quick. The governor didn't speak. The representative didn't speak. It was over fast.
And Sean Barnes is being asked a question about his residency and how that plays into his availability during the event because he was out of town. And he ends up getting into what looks like a physical altercation with this reporter. We still don't know the name of the reporter. It's somebody with a phone holding it in his face. But, for a lot of places, that's a reporter.
That's all it takes these days.
It's all it takes. Yeah. And there seems to be some sort of a close to at least,
Think there was a high temperature.
A lot of tension.
Yeah, a lot of tension.
Somebody steps in between Barnes and this guy, and then they push Barnes out of the room. They're like, hey, this is not going in the right direction. Anyway.
And there are cameras everywhere.
Obviously, pressure boiling over. We're going to play that audio for in just a second, but let's get into some of these responses. This was question of the day. Do you feel safe going to public events after this? Fire away, Spike.
425 says, I haven't been to the Bite in years now because of how unsafe it feels, even then.
That's interesting that would be something that they were worried about.
So public safety. I mean, a lot of people pick price or whatever for not going to the Bite as much as they used to, but I hadn't considered public safety, but it's got to be considered now.
The price thing is interesting because I was talking about this with my wife this morning, and we were both kind of surprised that it still was happening, the Bite of Seattle, and I was surprised at how popular it still is. I guess there was almost 300,000 people who visited last year.
Right.
But the criticism of it often is you're getting a bite from these different vendors, and it's quite pricey.
Yeah,
and you go around, you're like, well, I can afford 3 bites, instead of going to like 20 different places. And so that's usually the criticism. It's not a lot of public safety, but maybe for people who live downtown or for people who frequent it, they recognize these things more than I would. It's just like a casual outside observer. CJ in Bothell says, next Saturday we're supposed to walk in the Fred Hutch Obliteride fundraiser. I will still contribute the money, but I will not be involved due to safety concerns. That's fair, and that's very sad because that's when you stop being able to let people feel safe to gather in public, and when those community events no longer able to happen, you've lost the city.
You have. We should point out, though, that the Torchlight Parade was held this weekend down on the waterfront, Saturday night, without any incident that I'm aware of. There was no major news incident worthy of news coverage.
Yeah, but it was bookmarked by 2 shootings.
No, I'm not saying the city's safe. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But you're right, though. When you lose the faith and the trust of the people, you're in deep trouble. Tim at Auburn says, making the statement that you're no longer going to bite the bite of Seattle, just let the thugs know they win. Let's support SPD and the people needing to increase our security and let them be the winners and not the thugs.
Obviously, everybody supports SPD. We want cops to do their jobs, and we want them to be fully supported and fully funded and fully staffed. We want all those things. The problem is, are you willing to do you feel like you're in the situation where you're putting your family at risk going to one of these events just to show solidarity with whoever you're trying to show up for? If you feel like you're risking your safety, most people are not going to take that bet.
Not with my kids.
No, 100% not. Let's see here. Rob in Montesano says, I guess we can't go to the Bite of Seattle anymore. It's such a fear-mongering statement. Does that mean that you're not going to get on a plane anymore because one crashed? Is a fender bender going to keep you from driving? I doubt it. I expect better of you guys. Rob, Spike, you respond to this, please.
I can't tell you that my hair. So I'm upset at the incidents of violence. I'm heartbroken that it's far too common for any of us. My hair's not on fire. I'm not going to say I'm never going back to Seattle. I'm not going to go to the Bite anymore. I'm not going to let my kid work in Seattle Center. I'm not going to let my kid work or play on Capitol Hill. I'm not going to say all those things. I just want my city to do better. My city owes us, you, me, everybody, owes us better service and more accountability. And I think as this plays out, we got a lot to get to, and I apologize for monologuing. As this plays out, I'm not trying to underscore or underemphasize the tragic loss of 3 lives and the shootings of 7 people, 3 of which lost their lives. But the aftermath of this is going to be, it's huge. It's a huge story.
Yeah.
How the city has failed. How the city is, I was going to say handled this, but failed to handle this situation.
And here's what I would say to Rob as well. I'm not saying that Seattle is a total loss. I'm not saying that it's unsafe to go anywhere. I'm not saying that just bunker down and stay in your house and live in a cave. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is, in the aftermath of everything that's happening, it feels like there's a void in leadership. And if they're not even willing to acknowledge what it likely is, which it seems like a gang shooting, if they want to call it group shooting and they want to tell you that, hey, everybody's fine and you're safe to go, even though we don't know who one of the suspects is, or we do and we don't know where that suspect is. Yeah. That feels to me like they're not fully making sure that you're safe. And so why would you take that risk? At least for the current time, for the time being. Like, just play it a little safer.
And I'd ask Robin Montesano, is it not in the back of your mind?
That's all we're saying.
Rob,
we're not saying that.
You can't tell me that maybe you are going to come and bring your family in the whole 9 yards, but you can't tell me you're not going to at least think about it.
You're not looking over your shoulder when you're walking into, Seattle Center now, Rob? I think you might be. But we love you, Rob. Thank you for sending these in, even if we disagree on some of these.
That's what makes America.
All right. Question of the day. We got more of these. 425. I really hope the 2-year-old boy will be okay. God, my heart breaks for him. Yes, absolutely. There was a toddler who was injured. Apparently, he's doing well. And actually, I don't know if it's a he. Is it a little 2-year-old boy?
I believe it's a little boy that was shot.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, yeah.
Everything that we've heard so far is that kid is up and about.
Yeah, he's still in the hospital. He's the only one that's still being hospitalized to just make sure he's okay.
But
the next two are back-to-back, so I'm going to grab both of them if you don't mind. Tammy in the 360. Is this waiting of information last night related to Ferguson's new requirement that all information run through his office before it's released? And Brad the Painter says, city officials won't say, Brett and Puyallup says, wonder if the delay came from Ferguson because everything needs to be run through his office for approval.
That's really interesting. I didn't even think about that. Now those are all state. What's interesting, those are all about state agencies. Now, he obviously doesn't run the city of Seattle. No. That's a whole different thing. So I don't think this probably falls under that umbrella, although he was on scene last night. Yeah. He was there, and he even though he only spoke for probably 45 seconds, he was on scene last night, as was Pramila Jayapal. Yeah, interesting stuff. All right, Preston in Buckley. Why would anybody be surprised? Bob has the entire government on communication lockdown. This is, saying kind of the same thing we heard just a second ago.
Let me say this, though, because we had brought this question up. Brad the Painter says, the city officials won't say the word gang, though. That would be admitting to be a problem they aren't willing to admit to.
Yeah.
But I would offer this, maybe something else to think about. If you come out and say this is gang-related, and it turns out that it wasn't, the city may be opening themselves up to litigation about a smear.
They're going to be sued by the gangs who feel like we're defaming them?
Yeah, if you've got, yeah, well, no.
Who cares?
If a kid is involved in this.
Gangs.
Well, maybe he's not. My point is, if he's not in a gang, and you say he's gang related, that may taint a jury pool.
He just shot someone.
He doesn't mean he's in a gang. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're careful with what they say.
Yeah.
It may be because they don't want to admit that there's a problem. That may be the case. It may also be they don't want to get sued for labeling somebody a gangbanger when they have no evidence to prove it.
Who just shot someone?
Allegedly. He's a shooter.
Okay.
A lot of shooters ain't in gangs.
All right.
They don't have my support. I'm just saying.
No, I know.
I'm just saying.
I know.
This is
when we come back, we're going to play this audio. This is spicy audio. This is Chief Sean Barnes and a reporter having what looks to be a physical confrontation.
If this isn't in your feed yet, it's coming. So we'll check the feeds on this.
Yeah, this will fit into our feeding time. Here's the thing about what this proves, though. Tensions are very high with what's happening with Sean Barnes right now. The fact that he was not in town almost doesn't matter what he was out of town for. He's now being questioned about whether or not he is out of town too much. You're going to hear this when we get back. It's kind of crazy. All right, stick around. Be right back.
KIRO News Radio, where you turn for the news you depend on.
A political shakeup for Democrats that represent Seattle.
Traffic.
Right now, Auburn to Renton at 25 minutes. That's a good 10-minute delay.
Conversation.
3 people on the floor can't cover 20 aisles of plexiglass. They're doing their best. It just doesn't work.
And your Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
And the party begins.
Broadcasting live from the KIRO News Radio YouTube channel. KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
We all know a cancer diagnosis is physically and emotionally draining, but it can be financially draining too. That's why Northwest Hope and Healing is here to help. I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda, a plastic surgeon who is proud to be part of Northwest Hope and Healing's mission. We provide a lifeline for breast and gynecologic cancer patients. We cover essentials like food, utilities, and childcare so patients can focus on healing. Since the year 2000, we have distributed over $3 million in direct financial assistance to thousands of local cancer patients. And you can make a direct impact. Mark your calendar for Life in Color, a summer brunch, auction, and fashion show on August 23rd at the Somme Hotel and Spa in Woodinville. It's an unforgettable afternoon of hope and inspiration, celebrating local cancer survivors. Get your tickets now for Life in Color on August 23rd. Go to nwhopeandhealing.org to learn more. That's nwhopeandhealing.org.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111 or visit revivemenshealth.com.
At Seattle Children's Hospital, 1 in 3 patient families can't afford the food their kids need to heal. A child recovering from surgery and the family struggling to put nutritious food on the table. That's why Seattle Children's, Safeway, and Seahawk, Jackson Smith and Jigba launched the Food First Project to fight pediatric food insecurity by providing grocery cards, produce vouchers, and food as medicine programs for families. No barriers, just help. 12s, we need you. Learn more at Safeway.com. Again, that's Safeway.com.
Did you know that nearly half the homes in Western Washington are not properly insulated or not insulated at all? That may be the reason why your home is way too hot in the summer and way too cold in the winter. It may also be the reason that your energy bills are sky high. Right now, Insulation Northwest is offering a free inspection of your home's insulation. This is a $199 value and it's absolutely free, no obligation. Just call today and Insulation Northwest will arrange a time that works with your schedule. We'll perform a thorough exam of your home's insulation and give you the advice you need to start saving thousands. Everyone who calls today will also receive a free infrared screening of your home using the latest technology. This will help reveal any hidden flaws in your home's protective energy blanket. What do you have to lose? It only takes about an hour and it's absolutely free. Call Insulation Northwest today, the real insulation company.
InsulationNorthwest.com.
John Curley here. When the AC starts acting up, don't assume you need a whole new system. Home Comfort Alliance, their approach is simple. Repair first, replace only if needed. Their techs diagnose the real problem because a simple fix can often get the cooling back up again and not cost you a full replacement. Need something new? Ask about a heat pump for year-round comfort. That's what we did at the barn. Get real pricing in 60 seconds at HomeComfortAlliance.com. Call the comfort people. HomeComfortAlliance.com.
It's the best time of the year at Staples, with back-to-school supplies as low as 25 cents, up to 40% off select tech and more at staples.com/back-to-school.
Holy smokes! The On Cruise Adventures Rick Riz Show.
What happened at the ballpark yesterday?
Sparky's sitting on my scorebook here, my cat is.
Friday mornings at 8:15 on Seattle's Morning News.
Golden Crest Metals helps investors understand how physical gold and silver can be held inside qualified retirement accounts without pressure or confusion. Our team brings decades of experience in precious metals and retirement planning with a focus on clear education, straightforward pricing, and a process designed to put clients first. Why do investors choose Golden Crest Metals? Experience, transparency, and a client-first approach. Tune into The Gold Show with Kenny Michaels every Saturday at 1 p.m.
All right, welcome back to the show. This is feeding time, and this is when we check our social feeds. We find out what we are being fed, and I got to say, this one is a crossover for us. A lot of times we have different things, but for both you and I, Spike, there is a video that's circulating around locally here that relates to everything that was happening this weekend at the Seattle Center shooting, and it's between Chief Sean Barnes, who is talking to a reporter. This is after the press conference this morning, I believe. He's talking to a reporter who's got his iPhone out recording things, and the reporter asks him about the question of where he was, when the event happened.
Yeah, because the chief was out of town this weekend, is often out of town on weekends. His family still lives in Chicago.
Yeah.
We know it was from today's press conference because he wasn't in town.
But he wasn't in town
for last night's press conference.
And the thing is, the reason he was out of town this weekend is different than when he might normally be out of town. He was apparently at some event in Dallas, and it was to honor somebody. And so that's why he was out of town. Yeah. It wasn't just, I'm going to head back for the weekend to visit the family. But obviously, I'm going to play you this audio, and you tell me if this is not a lot of tensions behind the scene. Because I don't think you respond to something like this in the way that he responds unless there's a lot of stuff under the surface, a lot of stress under the surface. But let me play you this question and then the response from Barnes to this reporter. And again, if you're not watching, we're not actually showing the video right now because we don't have the rights to show the video. This was recorded by somebody else. We do have the audio. It appears like it's a physical confrontation, so much so that somebody has to step in between Barnes and the reporter, whose hand is shaking, by the way, as he's holding this microphone up to him. Pretty crazy. Watch this. Listen to this.
I have been here working as hard as I can for this city from the day I got here. You got that?
There are reports
you listen to me.
But there are reports that you are not in town often.
their reports are wrong. Do you understand?
Let's go, man. Let's go.
You understand?
So when I work, let's go. Thank you.
Someone has to physically step between the chief and this reporter to keep it from escalating any further. You can hear in the chief's voice. He took that question very, very personally.
Yeah.
Because the questions have been asked today more so than ever. They've been asked in the past about the chief has a very, and all due respect, I think he's a wonderful guy who I think is doing an incredible job in a very challenging and taxing environment. He's trying to overcome a shortage of manpower. He's trying to overcome a lack of public trust in his organization from previous failed leadership.
Well, he also got hired by a guy who then was, voted out.
Was voted out,
and
yes.
now he answers to somebody who in the past has not been a huge police fan.
So he's already on thin ice by any stretch of the imagination. But to come to the chief's defense in this, his commitment to the city is being called into question with these questions about when he's here and when he's not in town.
Sure.
And I'm sure he said during the press conference this morning, look, I wish I had a crystal ball to know when a horrific event would take place, so I wouldn't be out of town. And of course that's what he would say. But he probably feels nothing but regret for not being in town. He wants to be here for the city.
Yeah,
I think he cares about the city and loves the job he's doing.
Obviously, he would have rather have been in town for this. To be gone when something like this happens is the nightmare scenario for him.
And I say that because there's probably an element of guilt in his reaction to this.
Oh, I don't think you respond like that unless you're feeling the pressure and that to me, that actually does show somebody who feels a little bit guilty. It's like when somebody over-responds to something, it's because
it struck a nerve.
It strikes a nerve.
Yeah.
So my question to you is it fair criticism to say that this guy, his family lives full-time in Chicago, is that right?
Yes.
Now, he rents a place here, as far as we understand.
Yeah.
But he does have to travel back a lot, as anybody would, to see his family who are still back home. I believe he has some kids who are nearly about to graduate.
Yeah, and we spoke to the mayor here live on our show, and we asked him about this, and he said, with all due respect to the mayor, or excuse me, the police chief, I just wish, to the chief, Barnes, said, look, you want to give your kids in that time in their lives when they're finishing up a school experience to uproot them and move them to a different city. There's some validity to his concerns about why his family remains in Chicago.
Here's my criticism of it, though. He's not being hired as like the city auditor, or he's not being hired at a private tech company. He's in a very public job. Aside from the mayor of the city, he would probably be the next in line for level of importance to make sure that there is like cohesion and safety in the city, which is the number one job of these public officials.
And at most every issue facing this city was regard to law enforcement and crime.
So if he's often out of town, is this the best job for him? If he's being pulled, and I completely sympathize with his situation.
Yeah,
it's a great job in Seattle. It's a step up from his previous job. He gets to be out here. He makes a ton of money.
Yeah.
Not that that's necessarily the only motivator, but he gets to make a good salary. I think it's like $360 a year or something like that. And his family gets to finish things up in Chicago. The problem is that it's not a problem until it's a problem.
Yeah.
And now it's a problem because there was there was 2 shootings in Seattle this weekend.
Yeah.
One of them was very public and real bad. And so
they're both very public and real bad, but one of them led a 3 people dying.
One of them they called a mass shooting.
Yeah.
And if he's often out of town, is he able to do the job in the long run? Unless he has plans to be here permanently. And I understand being gone on vacation, but being gone regularly is a different thing. We'd love your opinion on that. Hit us up at the text line, 888-973-5476. All right, we got a lot more coming up. We'll be back at 2. Stick around.
Choke Points with Chris Sullivan.
With Choke Points, we try to answer listeners' questions. It can be as simple as a neighborhood stop sign, or it can be as big as the budget for transportation. I don't care. I'll find the answer for you. It's really easy to get a hold of me at mynorthwest.com. We have a direct link there that gets right to me. You can also do it in the app. You can hit me up on the text line.
Choke Points, presented by Carter Subaru. Tuesdays and Thursdays on KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
dog.
Hot dog! Get your hot dog!
Customize and save with Liberty Mutual.
Hey, what are you doing?
I like your method. Direct. To the point. A little loud, but...
Listen, people don't buy car insurance the same way they do hot dogs.
Not yet, but both are customizable.
Popcorn! Get your popcorn!
Hey, this is a hot dog area.
And customize and save area. Get a quote at libertymutual.com or with your local agent.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
What would you do if the person you love needed round-the-clock care and you had no plan to pay for it?
I was very worried about running out of money.
When Mike's wife was diagnosed with dementia, he turned to LifePoint Law and Elder Law attorney Rajiv Nagayich.
And then he said, you're going to be okay, but we have to get through these steps. Then I felt a whole lot better going into it. It was still a very difficult process, but in the end, I knew that there was someone there that if I needed help, understood what I'm going through.
LifePoint Law helped Mike protect his wife, his finances, and his future.
They laid it out really well up front. They give you a very in-depth plan. There are so many things that you don't know. I could never have done it on my own.
Register for a free LifePoint Law retirement planning seminar in Federal Way August 1st, Puyallup on the 4th, Tacoma on the 6th, or Bellevue August 8th. Space is limited, so sign up today at LifePointLaw.com. That's LifePointLaw.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-8157. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-8157. That's 800-575-8157.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Don't wait. Insulate. Last year, American Crawl Space and Pest Services gave over $2 million in insulation rebates from PSE, more than any provider in the state. If your home was built before 1990, you're eligible for recouping up to 95% of insulation replacement costs. Insulate with American Crawl Space and keep your home warm during the winter and cool during the summer.
American Crawl, the heroes you call.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. A food festival in the heart of Seattle ended in gunfire, killing 3 and injuring 4 others Sunday. Police say 2 people were in a dispute and began shooting. 1 is in custody. Authorities say it's a 15-year-old. Police Chief Sean Barnes also says they're looking for another person.
There is a second shooter. We're trying to identify who that person is. Our officers need your help. If someone saw something or perhaps if someone has some video, we need to identify that person.
Gas prices in the U.S. showing a little bit of a decline after President Trump backed away from hitting Iran hard with strikes over the weekend. Maritime traffic still stalled in the Strait of Hormuz for oil and goods. Temporary protected status, or TPS, for more than 300,000 Haitians set to expire today, along with protections for thousands of Syrians. The expiration follows a Supreme Court ruling last month that cleared the way for the Trump administration to end TPS for Haiti and Syria. This is ABC News. Brian Kohberger, a new court document, says he plans to withdraw his guilty plea made in court in July of 2025. He pleaded guilty to killing 4 University of Idaho students. He's currently serving 4 life sentences and blames his plea on false promises and wrong information. ABC News legal analyst Brian Buckmeyer.
If you take a plea and you haven't been sentenced as yet, it's very easy. But specifically in Idaho, the standard is that there needs to be a manifest injustice. And that's extremely difficult to do in a situation like this, where where judges, prosecutors, and defense attorneys are all trained on how to make sure that a defendant is properly informed, that they know they're taking a plea voluntarily, and that they're knowledgeable in the conditions of that plea. And so this would be an uphill battle for anyone.
An investigation is underway after more than a dozen campers at a YMCA in New Jersey got sick at a summer camp after allegedly consuming mushroom-laced edibles. They're all in stable condition. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
This just in, a third suspect connected to that mass shooting at the Bite of Seattle. The latest after Nate Connors at the traffic desk.
Thanks, Aaron. We'll start you up north in Everett, where our usual 2 o'clock backup is forming. Eastbound 526, leaving Boeing over to I-5. Both directions of 405 in the north end, slow between Alderwood and Canyon Park. Heading into Seattle, it's a 20-minute trip between Linwood and downtown. You're all clear until you get into the U District, where it's heavy down almost I-90 now. North 5, we're heavy at the West Seattle Bridge to the Columbia Tower. Another backup between Mercer and the Ship Canal Bridge. South 405, we're slow between Factoria and Renton. And then again, a pretty thick backup down there in South Center between 167 and I-5. Bellevue to South Center, a 20-minute trip. And in Lacey, we've got a stall. South 5 is Sleater-Kinney. It's a disabled semi blocking your left center lane. We've got a pretty thick backup starting at Cabela's, about a 2 to 3 mile backup. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio, breaking news.
Good afternoon, I'm Aaron Granillo. Just in, police now say there were at least 3 suspects involved in last night's shooting at Seattle Center. For the latest, we have KIRO News Radio's Frank Lenzi live in studio.
According to juvenile court documents, the 15-year-old who was taken into custody last night, obviously one suspect. An acquaintance of that teenager who died at the scene is the second, and then there is at least one other unknown suspect. Investigators believe the 15-year-old and one of the 3 people killed got into a gunfight with at least one other person. In addition to the 3 people who died last night, at least 4 others were hurt, including a 2-year-old boy. Aaron?
Thank you, Frank. So why did it take about 5 hours for Seattle police and elected leaders to initially brief the media and public on that shooting? We were told last night they were waiting on, quote, dignitaries. Today, Mayor Katie Wilson gave a different reason.
What we had was a scene of an active investigation where SPD was searching the grounds for a possible second suspect. And there are times when elected officials' presence is not helpful. And that was one of those times.
Wilson says they arrived as soon as the scene was secure. She also admitted to spreading misinformation about a second suspect when the police had just one person in custody. Federal investigators are set to interview the pilot of that Kenmore Air seaplane that crashed near Susha Island. Float plane went down Thursday with 11 people on board. Everybody survived, but 4 passengers were hurt when the plane made an emergency landing, caught fire. Preliminary findings are expected within 2 weeks. Seattle police still searching for those 2 people who parachuted from the Space Needle, jumping more than 500 feet. ABC's Hannah Bata has more.
Police say the 2 men bought tickets Friday night for the observation deck, then came out of a bathroom with helmets and gear, climbed over glass barriers, and backflipped off the ledge. Witnesses stunned.
They were running towards the glass and they jumped up, and that's when Jacob was like, they're climbing up, and I'm like, oh my God, go watch Emerson, go.
It comes just weeks after 2 daredevils climbed the Empire State Building and unfurled a banner. They're due back in court next month. As for the Seattle case, police say the men will face criminal charges once they're taken into custody.
Mariners just dropped the year's series finale in Texas, losing 3 out of 4 to the Rangers. They fall to 52-55 on the season, now 2.5 back games of the first-place Rangers. Your forecast now, increasing sunshine this afternoon, highs in the upper 70s. We're looking at 76 degrees and sunny skies in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
And now, it's time for the Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio. With your hosts, Jake Skorheim and Spike O'Neill.
Welcome back to the show. 2 hours down, 1 hour to go. All right, we got a lot of great stuff to get to. We're going to talk about all of it, a lot of insightful things. Joining us right now to do that is Jason Rantz from the Seattle Red 770 show, The Jason Rantz Show. Jason, welcome.
Hello.
All right, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. And I want to start off, we're going to get into some non-Seattle Center stuff in just a couple of minutes. You have a couple local celebrities who are lending their voices and likeness and statements to the
and wallets
to the No on Initiative 645 effort, which again they're saying that they want a millionaire's tax.
Yes, on taxes.
They want an income tax. We'll get into that in just a second. But Jason, to start off, did you see that Sean Barnes video? That was like it's sweeping the internet right now.
Yes.
Okay. What do you think is obviously for anybody who missed this? This was just a little bit ago. Sean Barnes was involved in an interaction with a reporter who was asking him about being out of town frequently, and Sean Barnes seems like he's wound pretty tight on this issue. And it actually escalated to the point where somebody had to step in between Barnes and the reporter, whose hand was shaking as he's holding the microphone up to him.
Connor Nash is the reporter.
Oh, was it Connor Nash? Okay.
Yes. South Emerald something.
So Connor Nash is standing there. Connor Nash from South Emerald something is recording.
Do you know? I can't remember the name of it.
No, that's okay. No,
At least I know his name.
No,
that's what counts.
Well, that's what I love about this is it doesn't take a Pulitzer Prize winner to call someone to the carpet about whether or not they are in town enough to do their job.
South Seattle Emerald.
South Seattle Emerald. Okay. So he's asking Chief Barnes about if he's out of town a lot, because it's pretty well known that Chief Barnes rents an apartment here. He actually lives or his family lives in Chicago. Here's the interaction.
I have been here working as hard as I can for this city from the day I got here. You got that?
There are reports that you are not in town often.
Their reports are wrong. Do you understand? Let's go, man. Let's go. You understand?
So when
I work. Let's go. Thank you.
All right, so he's kind of escorted out. It gets a little spicy there.
Someone literally had to get between the two. And Sean Barnes in video, while I can't say for certain he was going to punch the reporter, he clearly had made advances towards him in a very aggressive way, I thought.
It's hard to argue against that when someone, like you said, had to step in between the chief and a reporter who asked nothing but a valid question.
And reasonable.
Absolutely
he
reasonable
wasn't
question.
being a jerk about it.
Nope.
What do you guys think is motivating Sean Barnes' reaction? He seems very tense about this topic.
Because he's out of town a lot, and he realizes that is a reasonable criticism of his role as chief.
And there's no good justification. There's no reason. I mean, you can say all the things you want about how I love my family. It's better that my family is not here right now. Yep. They're finishing up this portion of their life in Chicago. I get all that.
Totally understandable.
But there's no way to say, look, it doesn't justify the fact that a city who needs, their police chief,
steady
leadership, coming off of horrific leadership. And I think the mayor's, like we said a couple minutes ago, I think there's a lot of guilt in the mayor's reaction, or excuse me, I keep saying the mayor, the police chief's reaction to this, because he knows that it's not a good look, or even it's not a good procedure or policy to not be in town as often he's not in town.
And his team goes to great lengths to cover up the fact that he spends a lot of time out of town.
How does that happen?
You ask questions and they don't respond. And you ask more questions and they don't respond. And then you have to go behind the scenes and talk to someone else to put pressure on them to actually respond, and then they give you a half-truth. This happens all the time, and I've covered this. The last time I covered this was probably 5-ish months ago, and you can find it at seattlered.com. I mean, this is a guy who is traveling a lot. You can argue that it's not necessarily his fault because he's allowed to travel. Okay, fair enough. You can make that argument. Yeah. I would still say that if you're in a position as the chief is, you should be smart enough to realize, yeah, you're allowed to because you got this deal with the previous mayor. Doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, it's that Jeff Goldblum cut.
One of the things we mentioned earlier today, look, even if he was out of town honoring dignitaries this last weekend in Dallas, wasn't visiting his family in Chicago.
Sure.
But we mentioned this earlier, even if the mayor is, I gotta stop doing that.
Chief Barnes.
I'm writing it down on my hand.
Chief.
If you're Chief Barnes and you're out of town, this is a modern technology world. There should be someone in front of the community within a relatively reasonable period of time after a mass shooting at Seattle Center to update the public on what they know and what they don't know.
Oh, my God. Everything last night and into today was mishandled at every single level. There's nothing that you can look at and say, you know what, that's how you're supposed to do things.
Yeah, the chief being out of town was so much less of an offense to me. And now that's in my head, I'm never going to get it right.
I know. That was
the chief being out of town is nowhere close to as much of a screw up as the chief not having someone in front of the public with what we know and when we know it.
And some of that might be the mayor's office, right? I mean, the whole idea we're going to hold off for dignitaries. With all due respect, no one needed to hear from Pramila Jayapal last night. No one needed to hear from Governor Ferguson.
Katie Wilson even said that herself. She said that they were, in her excuse today, she said they were clearing some event, and this is one of those cases where having officials nearby, elected officials, is not helpful. She even says it herself. Yeah. They don't need to be there. She's totally right
for
on that respect.
Op.
Yes.
For a photo op.
That's well. Here's
hold two. Have your police, whoever's going to do it, out there, the assistant chief out there to answer some basic questions, put out some basic facts, and then bring in the politics. It's not like they only could do one event yesterday.
Exactly. I will say this: I feel like Assistant Police Chief Tyrone Davis, he did a pretty good job given what he was basically tasked with. Was you need to go out there and give all this information. You're not the face of the organization. You have to stand there beside Ferguson, beside Katie Wilson, beside Pramila Jayapal, and you have to give all the relevant information while they just kind of sit there in the front of the cameras. That's a tough spot to be in. But, Spike, I agree with you. We live in a totally modern society. There's a lot of people who phone in and do a lot of Zoom stuff. Why couldn't Sean Barnes have been in connection?
You can lead from 30,000 feet.
I'll tell you why he didn't.
He doesn't want to. He's not interested in that.
Well, I know why he didn't. I know why he didn't. Because it would have highlighted that he wasn't there.
Yeah.
Which was obvious because he wasn't there. So it's like a double-edged sword. All right, let's move off of that for a second, and let's move on to something else. We're going to get into more of the Seattle Center stuff in just a little bit. But right now, you have an article on mynorthwest.com. This is another issue that people are feeling very spicy about. You have the millionaire's tax. You have Let's Go Washington's initiative, which was signed by hundreds of thousands of people, which is now qualified for the November ballot.
Over 500,000, right?
If you vote, 511,000. If you vote yes on the initiative, you are saying, yes, I want the income tax to go away.
It's confusing because it's not a referendum by design.
It's confusing by design.
Yes means no, no means yes.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
It's silly. It's like mayor versus chief.
If you're on the other side and you're saying no on Initiative 645, you're saying you want an income tax. And two of the voices who have now stepped up to say that we want an income tax are two wealthy individuals who happen to be famous, who happen to be Washingtonians. You have Ken Jennings, who hosts Jeopardy.
Oh, I thought it was Jeff Bezos and what's his name?
The other one?
Bill Gates?
Bill
Gates? No, Bill Gates is busy doing other stuff.
Oh.
Well, Bezos doesn't live here anymore.
And Bezos moved out to save his money. This is Ken Jennings, who obviously is, very famously a millionaire.
You have a $1 lead over Ken Jennings right now. And his final response was FedEx. His wager was $56.01. He winds up in second place with $87.99. And Nancy Zerg, congratulations.
Nancy wins
you
it.
are indeed
Ken Jennings, you are the all-time
giant killer, our new Jeopardy champion.
Yeah.
Look at the audience. The audience is paying tribute to not only Nancy, but to you as well. All good things have to come to an end, don't they? Well, too bad for Ken, but he's going home with a lot of money. $2.5 million. Congratulations, young man.
I imagine that pales in comparison with his salary now as host of Jeopardy. Ken Jennings also on the other side is, not the other side, but alongside him is Rick Steves, who is famous for his traveling. He's made a lot of money doing that.
Europe is such a dweeb.
Raise your travel dreams to their upright and locked position. Join us now as we discover the ins and outs of travels in Europe.
Yay, Europe. We love the value-added tax. So Rick Steves loves his tax. In fact, he wrote on this piece. You highlight this, Jason, in your piece here, but I think it's interesting to read a little bit of this. This is what Rick Steves says in a statement. He says, vote no on Initiative 645. Why? Well, if you're like me, I can't do his voice the whole time. He says, if you're like me and you've reached a point where you have enough money and you understand that consuming more will not bring you more joy or security, you understand that this tax package will have no real negative impact on anyone. Instead, by defeating I-645, our entire community, rich, poor, and those in the middle, will enjoy the benefits of a society where childcare is affordable, there's free breakfast and lunch for students, reduced taxes on small businesses, and more tax credits for working families. That's my kind of deal. So he's very supportive of this. Tell me about that, Jason.
Well, literally all of that existed before this tax, which still doesn't get collected until 2029. you push aside his logic. I obviously disagree with his statements. One might argue traveling brings him joy, of which he's not really going to be able to do a whole lot of if he doesn't have a whole lot of extra money to send him jaunting around the globe.
He's got a lot of extra money, though. He's worth a lot of money.
There were folks who found on his Rick Steves travel website an article he wrote about pickpocketing that folks found somewhat ironic. And he wrote, many tourists get indignant when pickpocketed or ripped off. If it happens to you, it's best to get over it quickly. You're rich and thieves aren't. You let your guard down and they grabbed your camera. It ruins your day and you have to buy a new one while they sell it for a week's wages on their scale. It's wise to keep a material loss in perspective. So this is not just weird, like, whitewashing of the crime. It's just also factually inaccurate that this is the people who are doing this. I mean, anyone who's visited any of the places that he promotes, these are not just like poor people who are stealing it so they can buy
it's not
bread for their... Like, come on.
I know, he does. Yes, it's very Disney-esque.
It's just weird. It's also just wrong. These are people who are part of organized crime who are committing this. And this idea that you're rich... I'm sorry. Everyone who travels are uber wealthy people who can easily afford having their cameras stolen?
The people who use his program probably are pretty wealthy. Hey, I went to his website and I looked at some of the prices. You have a lot of dough. If you're traveling to a Rick Steves location.
He inspires travel of all sorts who don't go on his silly tours.
I understand. Those tours are expensive.
I can tell you, full disclosure, I have benefited firsthand from the tip guides of Rick Steves. I didn't leave without my wallet because of Rick Steves. And I wouldn't have been, those poor people.
Yeah, it's just they
deserve my ID passport. Who cares if I can't get back on the plane
to come home? It's just such a dismissive position, which I understand why people are pointing this out in the context of him saying that Olympia should pickpocket you even more than they already do.
Let me ask you this question, though. Is he really connected to reality when he talks about how this, in this statement here, again, in the statement he says, this is not going to negatively affect anyone. And he goes, if you're living like me and you have so much money that you are totally fine with paying a little bit more, is he fairly looking at whatever, because nobody's sitting there saying that like the super, super wealthy can't afford a little bit more. What they're saying is lawmakers did not lock this into the super wealthy for a reason. Because that's obviously not going to stay with the super wealthy. It's going to turn into an income tax.
It's never been intended to stay with the uber wealthy. That was never the intent.
And he's not acknowledging that. And so when I see that statement from him, it feels disingenuous to me, unless I'm reading it wrong.
I think it's naive more so. I mean, I'm just assuming. I think it's more naive than disingenuous. He's acting like it's a billionaire's tax because all the things he's saying would apply to a billionaire. The kind of money that they never affects how they live their day-to-day life.
He's not being dishonest?
Yeah. No, I think he's naive. I think he's genuinely naive about this.
You think that of Ken Jennings?
He's an earnest, sweet, naive.
I don't think Ken Jennings said the same thing about pickpockets.
They're on the same side. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, here's my problem.
Ken Jennings said,
you guys have good.
Ken Jennings said, a new tax on fat paychecks like mine was just signed into law in my home state, and I like it. Continue, Spike.
Which I don't think he pays anymore because I don't think he lives in the state of Washington. Does he? Okay. Well, he said my home state.
You know, if they had made a billionaire's tax, if they'd have guaranteed a floor to this, that it wouldn't drop below $1 million because I don't even think $1 million of combined income is too low to ask for 10% of your income because $1 million don't go as far as it used to in the Aladdin world that Rick Steves still lives in. You know, there are many people who feel like they do. I make plenty. I could give more. We see examples of that all the time.
And they could, by the way.
And they could.
Like right this moment,
That's
Rick Steves can choose to cut a larger check. And he chooses, by the way, to keep making a whole bunch of money. Same thing with Ken Jennings. They're making a choice to make as much money as they could say, you know what, Jeopardy, you don't have to pay me whatever my salary is. Let's cap it at, so let's do something more reasonable. $300,000. I'll get paid what Chief Sean Barnes gets paid, and he doesn't even show up to work.
The people who came in last on Jeopardy fund.
You could choose to do that, but instead you get this just silly, disingenuous claim of, money doesn't buy joy or security. It does buy security. I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
I can tell you it buys a lot of joy, too.
Yeah, it also does.
Have you ever been on a jet ski?
Joy killer.
What you're choosing to spend money on can bring you a whole lot of joy.
Amen.
Like I said, I love to travel. I just got back from a trip last week. These trips that Rick Steves is telling you, selling joy to go on, are very expensive. and you would be able to pay for it if you had a little bit extra money in your bank account.
Here's the funny thing, is he has made his entire living convincing people to leave and spend money elsewhere other than Washington State. And now he's talking about how he can afford so much. Because I did look up his net worth. I always do this. I'm interested in how much celebrities are worth. It's tough to say because obviously we don't exactly know what his taxes are.
The internet says my net worth is $3.5 million. They are sorely right. It's double.
They nailed it.
I was going to say you're
I'm
worth
an
at least
afternoon talk show host.
You're worth at least double that.
Yes.
But it says that Rick Steves is worth somewhere between because of his travel empire, somewhere between $15 and $60 million. So the guy's made a lot of money.
15 and 60?
15 and 60. It's a wide range.
What is the government estimating this? Is
Probably.
This the cost of something? Well, geez,
Probably. The thing
makes sense that they wanted to be $60 million.
The thing
Get more money from.
Here's what I always come back to. They're making this argument that by taking more money from the uber wealthy, which again, they're not willing to lock into just the uber wealthy, that now everything will be properly funded. And like Rick Steves says, there finally is going to be lunches for kids and there's going to be better tax breaks for small businesses and all these things. When you look at what they have committed to spending the money on, and the only reason they're even saying that they need to take more money is because they've so poorly spent the money they've already been given generously. It's up way more than it was 10 years ago. It's like a 110% increase from what it was 10 years ago. Yeah. Does Rick Steves think that they're spending their money correctly right now? And if he can't say that, Washington State is budgeting correctly, then how can he justify telling people it's not a big deal to take more money?
I don't even think he needs to say it. All he has to do is, because I'm assuming he donates to charity. I'm assuming he's very charitable.
Yeah.
How much more do you give to charity than you do to cutting an extra paycheck to the government to spend money on your behalf?
Yeah.
Which one are you willing to do more so? And I'm willing to bet he's going to give nothing to Olympia unless he has to, and gives a lot more to charitable organizations.
What's interesting, too, is if you were to go pound for pound and you were to look at charitable organizations or the government and try to figure out which one is going to do better with his extra money and who's going to spend it better, I guarantee you almost every single charity that he chooses is going to be a much better spender of that money. It's going to go a lot further than when he gives it to government that has to pass through 15 different levels before it makes it to anybody. And I'm surprised. I'm actually surprised because I have used his travel guides as well.
Sure, yeah.
I've gotten good advice from Rick Steves before. I made it into what's the one with the Da Vinci on the Sistine Chapel. Yeah. I was able to cut the line.
Formal question, please.
I was able to cut the line on the Sistine Chapel because of a Rick Steves travel hack.
I wish I learned that. So I went in and I didn't even know I was in the room.
You didn't even look up?
See it.
Didn't look up?
Because
they didn't look up in the guide?
I barely looked up, and they just kind of push you through.
Well, there's a long line to get into
really
it.
Fast.
What they don't tell you is you're actually allowed to go through the back door. You're not required to go through the front door, but Rick Steves had that info, and so we went through the back door. We saved like an hour and a half waiting to get into the thing.
I did that at the long room at Trinity College in Dublin. Same thing.
I value Rick Steves' advice, but when it comes to taxes, he should just go back to Europe. He doesn't need to give us advice.
How about that?
Yeah, there you go. All right, Jason Rance, we appreciate you coming in. You can check that article out at mynorthwest.com and Seattle Red. Check it out, click on it, send it to friends. Thanks for coming in, man. Appreciate it.
What are you drinking? Is that true? You have your own energy drink now?
It's called Update.
Yeah.
It's an energy drink.
Look at you. Man, no wonder you're worth so much money.
Is that your signature drink?
Update.
I created it, yeah.
That's beautiful. I love that.
No, we didn't.
No, it's so look at my face is on it.
Oh, look at that. All right, we got a lot more coming up. Stick around. Bear back.
This hour is brought to you by Davis Law Group.
I heard a lot of gunfire.
It really sounded like a firework at first.
A community searching for answers.
Breaking news, a mass shooting at Seattle Center.
500 plus people just like stampeding our way.
It was horrible. The kids right there screaming, trying to get their dad.
The station you trust when it matters most.
Detectives are working to track down everyone involved.
KIRO News Radio. 97.3 FM and mynorthwest.com.
On BritBox, there is a place where stories twist like cobblestone roads, grand manners hide secrets, and stakes are higher than seaside cliffs. Find places worth getting lost in on BritBox. Watch new series like The Other Bennett Sister from the world of Jane Austen and A Woman of Substance starring Golden Globe winner Brenda Blethyn. If you want to get away, you're in the right place. Stream the best of British TV on BritBox. Free trial at BritBox.com.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight illnesses like pneumococcal pneumonia and RSV. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and can help protect you from getting really sick. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. See more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Summertime means sunshine, baseball games, beach trips, hiking, sandwiches at the summit. So don't let your bank stop you from having fun. Free checking at WaFd Bank is the way to go. There are no minimum balances or monthly maintenance fees to worry about. Plus, you'll get spending tools and the latest technology to help you stick to your budget. Not only is WaFd Bank a best bank, we have more than 200 branches to serve you across 9 western states, so you have access wherever you are. Visit WaFdBank.com to open your account. Non-sufficient funds charges may apply. Member FDIC.
Tune in to Elevate Your Wealth.
If you're 5 to 10 years from retirement, you do not have the time to deal with a market downturn.
With Mark Stimson and Casey Elkins.
It's important that you know what the rules are, because if you don't, you can make some tremendous decisions that could adversely affect you, and you may not be able to go back and fix it.
Tune in to Elevate Your Wealth, Saturdays at 11 a.m., right here on KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM.
John Curley here. When the AC starts acting up, don't assume you need a whole new system. Home Comfort Alliance, their approach is simple. Repair first, replace only if needed. Their techs diagnose the real problem because a simple fix can often get the cooling back up again and not cost you a full replacement. Need something new? Ask about a heat pump for year-round comfort. That's what we did at the barn. Get real pricing in 60 seconds at HomeComfortAlliance.com. Call the comfort people. HomeComfortAlliance.com.
It's Jonathan here from DUI Heroes, and I'm here today with a teenager who's just about to get her driver's license, and she's got some questions for me about driving, alcohol, and how to not end up in my office.
If I get pulled over and I have been drinking, can I ask for a parent to come and help me?
Unfortunately, no. What you can do is ask to speak with an attorney. And you know what? I'm a parent, which means if you call my office, you're going to get me or one of my other associates. And most of us are parents. Most of us know exactly what to do and exactly what to say to make sure that you're protected and we can get you home safe as quickly as possible. So the smart thing to do is simply ask the officer to talk to an attorney as soon as you possibly can. You're already in the situation. Give us a call and let's try not to make it worse. That was a great question. And if you or any of your friends find yourselves this summer in contact with law enforcement, please give us a call at 1-800-DUI-HERO or online at DUIHeroes.com.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877-CARS-4-KIDS to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877-CARS-4-KIDS to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
Insulation rebates from PSC are at historic highs. American Crawl Space and Pest Services gave over $3 million in PSC insulation rebates last year, more than any contractor in Washington. Homeowners, business owners, and PSC trust American Crawl Space and Pest Services. Was your home built before 1990? Visit AmericanCrawl.com to see how much you can save on replacing your insulation.
American Crawl, the heroes you call.
Take me out to big trees, take me to see the leaves.
Privacy screens and evergreens. You already know they have thousands of trees.
Big Trees for tree sales and transplants. Find Big Trees in Snohomish or BigTreeSupply.com.
KIRO News Radio, continuing coverage.
Good afternoon, I'm Aaron Granillo. Court documents now show a third shooter was involved in yesterday's deadly mass shooting at the Bite of Seattle. One of them, a 15-year-old, had their first court appearance today. KIRO News Radio's James Lynch was there, and he joins us live with the latest. James.
Aaron, that 15-year-old boy who police say was responsible for, at least in part, for one of those shootings last night was in court today. He waived his right to appear, so he didn't actually show in court. He was represented by an attorney, and the proceedings moved on in his absence. Now, here's Casey McNarthney with the King County Prosecutor's Office.
The court found probable cause for assault in the first degree, 3 counts of that, and also 1 count of unlawful gun possession in the second degree. King County prosecutors asked for him to be held in secure detention. After hearing from both sides and the juvenile probation counselor, the court ordered him in secure detention.
Now, depending on what new information comes in, those charges could obviously be upgraded in this case. This was a first appearance, so no charges have been filed yet, and he's expected to be back in court later this week. James Lynch, KIRO News Radio.
Thank you, James. And again, the 15-year-old, one of 3 shooters, according to court documents. Another one apparently was killed in that gunfight yesterday. And then a third shooter apparently still on the run, according to court documents. In addition to those 3 people who died, at least 4 others were hurt, including a 2-year-old boy. A dog was shot to death in Snohomish earlier this month. Authorities now want your help with their investigation. Here's KIRO News Radio's Frank Lenzi with that.
A report of gunfire came in on July 16th near North Carpenter Road. Animal control officers found a dead female black lab mix with a gunshot wound. She had white markings under her neck and on her upper chest. No microchip, no ID tag. Now, Snohomish County Animal Services is asking anyone who may know who the owner is to give them a call. Frank Lenzi, KIRO News Radio.
Reaction today from legal experts after Brian Koberger filed new court documents to challenge his conviction in the murders of 4 University of Idaho students. ABC News legal contributor Bernarda Villanova.
It's going to be very difficult to withdraw a plea, especially since the judge went to great extent in determining whether this plea was entered into knowingly, and to make sure that he, 1, understood the charges, understood what the promised sentence is, and also, number 3, understood what rights he was waiving by entering a plea.
Koberger pleaded guilty last year. He is serving 4 consecutive life sentences. No comment yet from prosecutors. Now to the real-time traffic desk at 2:33. Here's Nate Connors.
Thank you, Aaron. South 5 into Seattle is going to jam up near 50th in the U District down to I-90. North 5, it's packed at the West Seattle Bridge just past I-90. Another backup between Mercer and Ship Canal Bridge. Right around 20 minutes to get through downtown here. We've got backups at the First Avenue South Bridge right now due to a recent marine crossing. Down on Federal Way, South 5 just past South 320th. A new collision blocks 2 right lanes. Bellevue to South Center on 405 is a half-hour commute. You're slow from 520 to the Renton Landing, and then another pretty thick backup now between the Valley Freeway and I-5. And southbound on 167, we're heavy from State Route 18 in through Sumner. KIRO News Radio real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
And your forecast is looking good for this week. We are seeing increasing sunshine today, highs topping out right around 80. A little cooler for tomorrow, but staying mainly dry with a couple of possible stray showers out there. Rest of the week looks dry and mostly sunny. Right now, 75 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
All right, welcome back to the show. We are still covering. There's a lot of stuff. We're a day now removed from what happened at the Bite of Seattle, the mass shooting. We now know, you just heard in the top of the hour news break, the bottom of the hour news break there, that they're now looking for a third suspect, which originally we thought was the second suspect.
Now they're saying 3 people were involved in the actual shooting. 3 people might be involved.
Yeah. And so it's, as we're taking a step back now and kind of doing a rehash of what happened, it's a tragedy and it's horrible, and it draws into question for a lot of people whether or not you can trust events in downtown Seattle, which there's a lot of really fun stuff to do in town. I mean, like or love the city, it's still the place where people are gathering to do fun things. I mean, Seafair is right around the corner.
Yeah.
And, I'll be completely honest. That's something that we do every single year. I will be a little more vigilant as we go. Will it stop me from going down?
Well, no, because the city's a little more vigilant about your security at Seafair.
Well, they are at Seafair.
Then they have been at the Bite of Seattle. They're more vigilant about the Bumbershoot.
Absolutely.
Because it's a paid event, and maybe the fact that it's free events at the Seattle Center are harder by nature to secure. But we had the video earlier that you brought in. We played for you about someone saying on Saturday, "Man, I don't see a lot of security around this place."
Yeah.
And so that asks the questions about whether or not you feel safe at events in Seattle, and if leadership's response to the tragedy of yesterday's occurrence.
I'm glad you brought up leadership, because I do feel like if I'm taking a step back and I'm just looking at their response to this whole thing, you can forgive people for new horrible situations that they're not used to. Nobody wants a shooting. I mean, you do your best to plan for it. Obviously, you want people in charge who kind of know what to do. You can forgive some people for having to, to learn how to run before they can walk.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of that can happen. But what I'm seeing a lot of, and what I think the feeling that people are having, last hour, at the end of the last hour, we were playing the audio of Sean Barnes, who's getting very tense with reporters because now they're asking him questions, not about the shooting, but where was he during the shooting? You're seeing a lack of, it feels like a lack of cohesive leadership in the city. And Sean Barnes answers to Katie Wilson.
Yeah, and
that's his boss.
It's not just the messaging that is lacking; it's a protocol. It's a plan in place, as Luke said to us earlier. These people have no plan in place for an event like this. And if you haven't, nobody can stop everything. But you have to.
You're not going to be perfect.
You have to consider the possibility of public events having disastrous occurrences or tragic occurrences.
Let me play you. This is the first time there's a 5-hour delay between the event and the press conference that ends up happening last night. They claim there's now a dispute about what was actually happening. SPD originally said that it was a dignitary issue. They were waiting on dignitaries, which the reporters found pretty objectionable. And then today, Katie Wilson says, no, it wasn't about us. It's not our fault. They were trying to clear a building to make sure that it was safe for us, which we're going to play that cut in just a second. But after 5 hours of waiting, the press finally gets some people to answer questions about what's happening. This is the first time that they're actually sitting down or standing in front of the press and answering questions. This is last night, 11 p.m. Katie Wilson standing there. Assistant Police Chief Tyrone Davis is standing there in the absence of Sean Barnes, who was out of town. Bob Ferguson is off to the side, and then Pramila Jayapal is also off to the side, Congresswoman. And Katie Wilson starts things off, and it does not go well, right from the jump.
Come a little closer, sir, please.
A little closer, please. We've got this police line. We cannot cross.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your patience as we've been working to make sure that we can provide accurate information. I'm sorry that we're having to gather here tonight under these tragic circumstances. What happened here today at the Seattle Center was an unbelievable tragedy, and a horrific act of violence. My heart right now is with the victims and their families and with everyone in our community who is reeling from what happened here today. We have far too much gun violence in this city and in this country, and we're coming off of a week in Seattle where we've had 3 major incidents of gun violence in just a few days. We have a lot of work to do as a city and as a country to make this better.
I get your passion, Mayor, but we need to know what happened tonight, please.
Yes. So our focus right.
It's a familiar voice. That's Heather Bosch, who is one of our colleagues here for many, many years, and she's now over at KIRO TV. And she was doing stuff for CBS last night, I believe, on this.
ABC, I think.
Or ABC.
Yeah.
Was it ABC?
Lady does a lot of great work.
Okay.
I thought I heard her on a national update for ABC. Am I wrong?
Anyway, she was kind of sticking it to Katie Wilson there, saying, listen, we've been waiting 5 hours for some information, and you come right out and you want to talk about larger gun violence in America? Give us some details. Those are conversations that if somebody wants to have later, whatever. But right now, please give us some details so that we can get that information out to the listeners, out to the viewers, to let them know, are they safe? And this is the big dispute now that's happening, is you have the SPD who yesterday were saying, hey, the reason we waited so long on 5 hours was because we were waiting for dignitaries. And then Katie Wilson today saying, no, it wasn't our fault.
Is that true? Was the delay at all to do with because of
politicians to get in front of the camera?
No, that is absolutely not the case. Okay, so as I stated before, last night at Seattle Center, what we had was a scene of an active investigation where SPD was searching the grounds for a possible second suspect. And there are times when elected officials' presence is not helpful, and that was one of those times. We don't want our law enforcement distracted taking care of elected officials when they have work to do. As soon as we coordinated with SPD and agreed that it was time to talk to the media, as soon as we knew that we were going to be doing that, I and Governor Ferguson and Congresswoman Jayapal arrived on the scene within minutes.
So you can say his office unequivocally did not tell you to wait?
No, absolutely not.
Let me ask you a question. You're pretty good at, you do this for a living. You listen to people. You do these stories. You're making assessments about what public officials are saying all the time. Do you believe her when she says this had nothing to do with them waiting for us to get together as dignitaries, and this was purely about making sure that the scene was safe for us as dignitaries?
I have a hard time believing that because we have reports where the police and public information officer, Seattle Police public information officer said, we're waiting for dignitaries to gather so they can have this press conference. Everyone who needs to be there can be there.
Yeah.
And then, the mayor offers, as soon as they told us it was safe, we were all gathered within minutes. Here we are with you now. We just learned a few minutes ago that we're securing the perimeter. And maybe it's 3 hours earlier. A public information officer was, as soon as the last person gets here, we'll go out and make something. And they said, wait a minute. There's now reports he may have, this suspect may have run toward the IMAX theater location at
or
Seattle.
wherever, yeah.
Or wherever, because that's what they said. They thought some of the reports they had run toward IMAX, and they wanted to sweep that area before everybody came in. So, I don't know. There's just far too many conflicting reports have been issued, and not enough reports that said, look, this is what we know, this is what we don't know, which is what the city was owed.
You know what's
I don't mean to
interesting,
keep banging
too?
on that, but that's...
I was just thinking about this because last week we were talking about Katie Wilson's press secretary quit the job.
Yeah.
Left. Would this have been a situation where maybe it would have been useful to have a professional in that capacity? I don't know who she replaced Sage Wilson with.
First 7 months of the mayor's administration, she's lost chief of staff, communications director, and press secretary. There's no continuity.
Clearly there's something behind the scenes going on.
Yeah, there's no continuity. There's no team in place. There's no system. And the reason that all these people have moved on was because the messaging wasn't working. The system wasn't working. It was inadequate. And they haven't fixed the problem.
Do you think 6 months from now, everybody right now who's in a leadership position, are they still going to be there? I'm talking about the Katie Wilsons. I'm talking about the Sean Barnes.
I can't imagine there won't be drastic change. I can't imagine.
It does feel like that's kind of in the air, doesn't it?
Well, heaven forbids something else happens. The city needs adequate, accountable leadership. Because I can't see if something happened a week from now that the team in place today would have the right solution to that problem or the right set of protocols and procedures for that occurrence.
Yeah. And her response about the 5-hour delay in the dignitaries, that seemed offensive to me, which leads me to believe like maybe there was a little bit of shame involved.
Could be.
And she's being overly defensive. Sean Barnes' response to the reporter asking about his frequently being out of town.
Those reports you're out of town a lot. They're all wrong.
Yeah.
Well, sir, you visit your family. You've traveled last weekend to Dallas to help recognize dignitaries or
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an ongoing story and possibly a problem. All right, we got a lot more coming up. We got your, it's last call. We got your text messages. You guys have been very vocal on everything we've talked about. We're going to get to as many of those as we can. Stick around.
KIRO News Radio, where you hear G and Ursula, weekdays 9 to noon.
Me personally, Ursula, shorts in the workplace should not happen. There's no way.
It's a bridge too far for you.
Put some pants on.
What if everyone in the office building is wearing shorts or very casual attire? If you're so buttoned up and everyone else is casual, including the boss, I think you might be taking it too far.
Subscribe to the G and Ursula Show on YouTube and watch live or later.
Did you know that 4,000 women are diagnosed with breast cancer every year in Washington state? I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda with Northwest Hope and Healing. We provide financial support for breast and gynecologic cancer patients in our community. Join us at Life in Color, a summer brunch, auction, and fashion show on August 23rd at the Somme Hotel in Woodinville for an unforgettable afternoon of inspiration. Get your tickets now for Life in Color on August 23rd at nwhopeandhealing.org. That's nwhopeandhealing.org.
I like it hot.
Beg your pardon?
Can you make it hot for me, Dan?
I think so.
Half heated ain't hot enough.
No.
That's why I called you.
Apollo Plumbing.
Yeah, my sorry old water heater.
Oh.
Ain't getting me the hots anymore.
You want hot water.
That's what I said.
That's what we do at Apollo Plumbing.
And you're ready?
Right now.
When can you?
How about today?
Same day?
We'll have you in hot water tonight.
Clever. How about an upgrade?
A tankless water heater would mean endless hot water.
Now you're cooking.
That's just for starters.
Starters?
How about we make it a worry-free water heater?
Worry-free?
Wrenchie's worry-free warranty.
Which covers?
Repair, service, all included.
And when it wears out?
Apollo replaces it.
No extra charge?
Nothing.
Nil?
Nada. As an Apollo A-list member, you're covered.
And payments?
To fit your budget with approved credit, of course.
And I'm hot again.
Worry-free.
That's for me.
We're on our way.
Thanks for making it hot.
We're ApolloPlumbing.com.
What would you do if the person you love needed round-the-clock care and you had no plan to pay for it?
I was very worried about running out of money.
When Mike's wife was diagnosed with dementia, he turned to LifePoint Law and Elder Law attorney Rajiv Nagayich.
And then he said, "You're going to be okay, but we have to get through these steps." Then I felt a whole lot better going into it. It was still a very difficult process, but in the end, I knew that there was someone there that if I needed help, understood what I'm going through.
LifePoint Law helped Mike protect his wife, his finances, and his future.
They laid it out really well up front. They give you a very in-depth plan. There are so many things that you don't know. I could never have done it on my own.
Register for a free LifePoint Law retirement planning seminar in Federal Way August 1st, Puyallup on the 4th, Tacoma on the 6th, or Bellevue August 8th. Space is limited, so sign up today at LifePointLaw.com. That's LifePointLaw.com.
Our founders believed that freedom wasn't just a word, it was a way of life. The freedom to move forward, the freedom to pursue what matters most, the freedom to live fully. But aging has a way of taking those freedoms away. That's why there's Longevity Medical Clinic. John Curley here. My best move was becoming a patient of Longevity Medical Clinic years ago, and second best move, getting my wife Nicole to join me this year. Stop guessing and start working with a doctor who knows your goals and get personalized care designed around you, not the average patient. Discover what's holding you back and what can help you thrive with longevity. Aging is natural, but some of the effects are undesirable, and you don't want to have to just accept it. So this year, as we celebrate 250 years of freedom, ask yourself a simple question. Are you living with the freedom you deserve? Get real answers about your health and get your free health analysis at Longevity Medical Clinic. Find out more at lmclinic.com.
There's a sink at the brink and a drain that's a pain.
DayandNight.net. Slow drain, backed up toilet? Call Day and Night to save $100 off any drain cleaning.
Hi, I'm Bruce with Day and Night Plumbing and Heating.
From a slow drain to a major backup, no drain is too big or too small. Whether we're your first choice or smart second opinion, I guarantee our experts will solve any drain problem, day or night.
Now get $100 off any drain cleaning. DayandNight.net.
Bonneville, Seattle, and KIRO Newsradio are looking for organizations that regularly distribute information about employment opportunities to job applicants or have job applicants to refer. If your organization would like to receive notifications of job vacancies, please notify Human Resources at 1820 Eastlake Avenue East, Seattle, Washington 98102, or email us at seattlealljobs@bonneville.com or call 206-726-6902. Bonneville is an equal opportunity employer.
It's the best time of the year at Staples, with back-to-school supplies as low as 25 cents, up to 40% off select tech and more at staples.com/back-to-school.
Guys, your testosterone level impacts your energy, drive, weight, hair loss, and even ED. Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your T level for free. For your free T level check, exam, and consultation, call 206-529-1111 or visit revivemenshealth.com.
Now is your time to get into a new D.R. Horton home by taking advantage of its National Red Tag Sales Event going on right now through Sunday, August 2nd. Stop by any of its participating communities and find select Red Tag homes at incredible pricing. So whether you're buying your first home or looking for an upgrade, you don't want to miss the Red Tag Sales Event going on right now. Discover the D.R. Horton difference at drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
All right, welcome back to the show. It's last call, which means we get to your text messages. Last opportunity for you guys to let us know how you feel about everything we've covered today. Spike, why don't you lead us off?
Sure. On Space Needle base jumpers. That's not
Space
easy.
Needle space jumping.
Space jumpers. The two idiots from the 253, the two idiots that jumped off the Space Needle have not been identified or caught yet, even with all those cameras.
Yeah, you can see their faces, too.
Clearly.
You know what, though? Obviously, SPD, they got their attention elsewhere.
Yeah,
I don't think they're looking very hard for the base jumpers.
That's fair.
Megan in 925 says, however, the Empire State Building does it how the Space Needle
should be doing it.
What do they do?
The Empire State Building has these metal bars that go up and roll back toward the crowd so no one can ever jump off the Empire State Building.
Have you ever been up there?
I have.
I have too. It's pretty neat.
It's pretty neat. You can trust me.
I forgot about the bars.
You can't jump.
Yeah.
Even with a parachute or any other way. Andrew, in my mind, if a crime doesn't have a victim, it's not a crime. I'm not clear on who is or are the victims in the case of the Space Needle jumpers.
That's an interesting take. It's obviously not something you want to encourage because there's a fair likelihood of somebody tragically ending their life as an accident.
Everything's got to go right.
Yeah. You don't want it to happen, but Andrew, I take your point. Let's see. On the 1 in 8 U.S. adults who are on GLP-1s, Susie in Hilltop says, I lost 100 pounds with the help of Ozempic. Thank goodness.
I'm glad.
Thank you. And congratulations, Susie.
Absolutely. On details of the Bite of Seattle shooting and lack of information, Diane, and we got so many of these. Diana in Seattle says, I went to bed last night not knowing if there was a terrorist attack or a psycho on the loose.
Doug from Puyallup, among the victims is a 2-year-old. Until those responsible never for any reason see anything other than iron bars and a stainless steel toilet/sink combo, I will never take Seattle seriously.
Adolfo in the 360 says that 15-year-old just threw his life away over some people that will never even visit him in prison.
253 says, first, Spike, I'm so thankful that your child wasn't hurt. I love all of the shows on KIRO, but this is my only show. I wanted to hear information about the shooting last night. You guys normally help bring clarity to confusing situations. Thank you for doing your best with the information available. Thank you, 253. Yeah. That's very kind. We try to.
And as do all the shows here. They really do, man. This is a
but I will say, 253 is right.
We're the best.
We are the best.
Amy in Redmond says there should be cameras all over Seattle Center if there aren't already.
Let's see. Bob in Puyallup. I haven't felt safe going to a public event in about 5 years.
Tim in Seaback. 7 years ago, my wife dumped her Fifth Avenue season tickets due to safety. I used to go with her and always carried. Even armed, I'm scared. We never go to Seattle.
Let's see here. Adam in Mount Lake Terrace. You can't just click a button and make Seattle safe, even with a lot of money. The underlying problems are kids, mental anxiety, stress, and the economy.
Amy in Redmond, there should be cameras all over the Seattle Center if there aren't already. Again, yeah, a lot of people have that same exact mentality, same thoughts.
All right, we also posed a question earlier. Should somebody lose their job or will somebody lose their job as a result of this weekend? If you're listening to those audio clips that we played a bunch of times today, tensions are very high behind the scenes, and it seems to me like usually these boil over into either somebody steps down or somebody has to get removed from the job. You know, I don't know what's going to happen, but we'll see what plays out. But you guys had a lot to say about this. Brad, the painter, says Katie and others like her fear pushback from activists most of all. Idealism over realism.
Max in the 425, perhaps piling on the elected leaders a bit much. I did not vote for any of these clowns either.
I don't think we're piling on. I feel like we're making a assessment on how we thought their reaction to all of this went. And I don't think that they respond. I don't know if you could point to a single thing that they've done in the last 36 hours that you would hold up and go, this is the way to do it. I can't think of a single thing. So, I don't feel like that's piling on. We're definitely not being super generous with them.
We're just telling you how things have played out and how we see they didn't deliver to the city what the city is due.
Yeah.
And it's right to expect.
The number one job of any public leader, like a mayor or like a police chief, is public safety. Everything else pales in comparison. That's the building block for everything else that happens in society, is for people to feel like they are safe in these cities. And I don't really feel like that's totally their focus. Yeah. They seem to be focused on other things.
Kathy says, it shouldn't matter if the chief was out of town for work or for vacation. He deserves to have his time. He has people who can handle these situations. They didn't seem to be doing that, though.
Yeah, it's interesting, Kathy. The problem is if it's just a vacation, everybody can forgive if it's just a vacation. But if it is a routine that he is constantly out of town because he's pulled between two worlds, which anybody would be, it's totally understandable, and I sympathize with wanting to be near your family. But if you have a high-profile job, to keep the city of Seattle safe, you're also pulled in this direction. All right, thank you guys so much for hanging with us today. John Curley's coming up next. He's going to have a lot more on this and so much more. We're going to be back tomorrow. We got a great show. We're already got it in the pipeline for you. We have a fun, famous guest stopping by at 2 p.m. You're not going to want to miss that. It's very fun and entertaining. We'll see you back here then. Bye-bye.
I heard a lot of gunfire.
It really sounded like a firework at first.
A community searching for answers.
Breaking news, a mass shooting at Seattle Center.
500 plus people just like stampeding our way.
It was horrible. The kids right there screaming, trying to get their dad.
The station you trust when it matters most.
Detectives are working to track down everyone involved.
KIRO News Radio. 97.3 FM and mynorthwest.com.
Download to see if you qualify. Not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription required. Albert is not a bank. Albert Instant Loans are issued by FinWise Bank, member FDIC. Not an actual client. Terms apply.
Kylie, what's wrong? I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app? Albert is your financial assistant, helping you find ways to save and create custom budgets to actually grow your money. Plus, you can get up to $10,000 for big expenses, or advance up to $1,000 fast when you need cash right away.
Albert can get me up to $10,000?
Exactly. Albert spots you in a pinch and helps you grow your money in the long run.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code MULTIPLY to borrow up to $10,000 for whatever you need. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code MULTIPLY to borrow up to $10,000. Use code MULTIPLY to borrow up to $10,000.
Progressive provides protection for your boat and other outdoor vehicles so you can explore new things.
Oh, I can finally try pesto.
We meant like water skiing.
I've just never had pesto.
Or maybe take the boat somewhere new.
I mean, is pesto spicy or sweet? Oh, guess we'll find out, right?
Right. Bundle home or auto insurance with your boat, RV, or motorcycle and stay protected with Progressive while you explore.
I don't know. Maybe I'm not ready for pesto.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
Summer is the time to feel and look your best, but I'm not talking about your abs or tan. Guys, I'm talking about your hair. Restore that bald spot, reverse your receding hairline, or add volume to thinning during Advanced Hair's once yearly summer savings event. Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment begins to regrow your very own hair the very next day, and they guarantee your new hair will grow. They are the team that addressed my hair loss, and I recommend them to everyone. Take advantage of your flexible summer calendar and get the most hair for your dollar. Advanced Hair's summer sales event is on for a limited time. So get the details and schedule your free consultation today. 425-449-8185. One-day treatment, life-changing results. With Advanced Hair, your new hair is guaranteed to grow. Check out the incredible before and afters and make the call now while their summer savings event is still on. That's 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
When I hit my 50s, I felt like things were slowing down.
This is Sandra's Metamucil story.
I started taking Metamucil for digestion, but had no idea it would impact so much more. Not only did Metamucil help me feel more regular, but my heart health saw the benefits too.
Metamucil, one simple routine, 4 health benefits. Digestive health starts here. Go to metamucil.com for more details.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight illnesses like pneumococcal pneumonia and RSV. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and can help protect you from getting really sick. Ask your doctor or